what is going on is we're live.
We
It
are
is a joke to the
live.
jokes. Yes, I'm saying the joke. It happens every fucking week. You said
Every week. We
every
must.
week. I was looking for
Life
the.
is a story of survival.
I was yeah, it's true. Uh, I was looking for the like, comment, subscribe, and copyright strike shirt, but it's somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but
I got my mug still. I got it right here, in fact. Still keep it at my desk.
that's still great. That's still great.
Nah, best thing we've ever physically produced.
Like, comment, subscribe, and guideline strike probably next. Community guideline strikes.
In honor.
Um. What was I gonna say with? Fuck it. I don't know. My brain just dead tired right now.
Hell yeah.
Let's do this. Welcome to the Blue Read Podcast, episode number 219. Jesus Christ, saying that number is still surreal, dude.
Yeah. This is the longest running thing we've ever done.
I've been more committed to this than many people in my life. No, obviously we have some ongoing stuff, but like, yeah, no, like in terms of content wise, for sure, this is easily far and away. But yeah, 219, Jesus. We're about to, like we said it a couple weeks ago, but like lapping the curse of like what 27. It was 27 because I remember now.
Yeah.
Because shout outs to Kurt Cobain and I'm blanking
John
on
Stamos.
No, I'm blanking on Jimi Hendrix. There we go. Shout out to them. We're gonna lap that by 200 episodes. Never would have guessed that. I would have guessed, like, if you had told me at the beginning of us recording this, I like wild the suggestions, like how far we made it, I would have been like 150. Would have been like, shit, that's crazy, dude.
I probably would have initially been like, we'll get to 100 just to say we did it, and then probably leave steam at that point.
Yeah, I can see that too. But I know I was literally thinking about it, like as I was hitting start streaming to the starting tune screen. I was like, the only instance I see this ending is if it gets to a point like when eventually I have kids or something and like I have to put a hard stop, but
No, then it just becomes bi-monthly.
I just don't see how it stops. I just think we just keep going. Even when we have like two people, it's just, as we mentioned, this is our excuse
when
to.
When we die is when this ends.
And then
then get the fucking Ouija board.
No,
we'll
I was gonna say
if
one of us passes, we have to crowdfund the AI VTuber development of the other person. We have 200 episodes of voice recording and hours of content for an AI to decipher. I think in theory we can make an AI. Doesn't that exist? And I did mention that at some point. I never looked it up. The AI voice of DSP. AI Dark Side Phil voice. Where you just make him say whatever you want.
Anus.
I hope that's a thing. Maybe not. I've looked. Oh my God, hold on. It's all right. I think stream heard that for a second. You didn't hear that. I'm gonna put that in the chat. Someone got a DSP AI to sing All Star by Smash Mouth.
One of those things that, in terms of entertainment, I do find some of like the AI president shit kind of fucking hilarious. Ethically, I do hate the concept of AI voice.
Yeah. Except for Privilege Junkie in the chat. Let's get Gore AI going, one for each era.
Then you can just immediately spin up content regardless of how many times he's kicked off the platform.
I'm fully convinced he's gonna be a Tupac, where it'll just be consistent videos beyond the grave. It's like how music, he still releases an album like every once in a while, it's still a new Tupac album. I'm just convinced it's gonna happen. Just it's gonna keep going. Somehow, I don't know how it's gonna be. Like he's gonna watch these brand new meme videos that came out 2 seconds ago, but he's gonna have it. I don't know how, but he's figured it out. Um, man, this is something I don't want to talk too into, but I will at some point. Is a Mr. Geek actually messaged me not long ago and gave me a heads up saying that you know how there's a billion different YouTube documentaries coming out. I'm surprised none have dug deep like in our era of things, right? Like where it's like the console wars of like the olden age, and they told me that they had gotten wind that there's one being developed and that there is a talk of one person on there, which means that there's a potential that there may be some cameo name drops of people that we know in lack of a better word that we know and
Okay, like we know as in like
as in
maybe Chandler, or are we talking like deeper cuts like Helsing 920?
like us in some sort of way. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't foresee it happening, but
holy shit, if that happens,
I'm not gonna link names around. But yeah, there was a mention of a console wars thing happening, and then that group of area of people, there was one that they had mentioned that was getting documented on that might eventually snowball into something else. In which case, that'd be fucking funny. I don't know.
For the record, I am always available for comments. My handles are below.
Alpressor would be one in for sure, along with his downfall where he barks at people in front of people at local Walmart. Alpressor,
holy hell,
Alpressor would be funny. I'm genuinely, I think Samuel was like a little bummed out. He's never been part of one of those, because I think he deserves to be in there. He was definitely like early,
he was very prominent for a lot of the early stuff on that front.
Yeah,
him, Magus X1, Darkness the Curse, Big Al 2K6.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of like early gaming YouTube, aside from like the obvious like super big name, like Angry Video Game Nerd, like those are the ones that like definitely the homegrown, the community ones that come up.
Yeah, he had 400 subscribers when that was a huge deal. Yeah, Samuel was like on that shit early. What's up, Kels? So it does. I can see why. Granted, like he managed to do the impossible, which is turn around a wild persona of a person online into like something of success in a field that we never thought would be possible.
Yeah,
but good for him. Like I'm proud of the guy. He's I'm gonna be super real because I feel like I feel like I've portrayed myself and I'll be like that. I could have totally seen him not going anywhere.
Samuel?
Yeah, like early on.
Yeah, he very
like,
much is early on he was a coin toss. He was someone that either was going to realize he had a lot of potential to do something, but didn't. He very much could have been that kid that knew he could have did something, but was like, it's fine. Whatever life throws at me, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And while I don't agree with the exact path he has gone down in life, I'm glad he has done a lot for community. He is definitely a very community-minded individual, and I'm proud of him for that.
Yeah, we're not going to get the politics itself, but on that credit, as someone who knows Samuel personally, I feel like of the group that we had, I probably know Samuel the best. He's been my longest-standing friend within the group. And I've seen him in person a lot. In fact, I saw him only like a few months ago. Probably gonna see him again next month or the month after. I forget which.
Hell yeah.
But out of anyone that I could see being in that office and my personal politics, being just like let people be people. I feel like that's a pretty fine thing to want in life, and just let people live their life and respect that.
No harm.
let people live their life and be respectful about it, and be chill, be cool. Samuel has always been, and you could maybe attest to this too. Samuel's been very much. I don't give a fuck what anyone else does. Fuck it, whatever. Um, and I'd rather that be behind there too, because like I'm not gonna speak for the guy because I guess like, there's that, but from what I would have guessed if I had to like throw a dartboard, it'd be like he doesn't give a fuck about all that stuff. Just like let's get the actual important shit that matters out of the way. Bless you. And get the important shit that matters out of the way, and that stuff like people can just do whatever the fuck they want because fuck it, who cares? That's
yeah. It's one of those things that there's been comments made like here and there that make me raise an eyebrow, but at the end of the day, it's nothing that I would want to get into detail about without him being here to defend himself. So,
so talk because I'm eating.
All right. So here's the thing: is I really love the idea of a lot of like weird, deeper cut documentaries, especially in gaming history. That's kind of the whole basis for the SMT project I've been slowly kind of still carving away at in the background.
No, I know. You want to talk about that?
No. Well, no. I have already committed to the fact that I need to start smaller.
Yeah.
As much as like in my brain, I was like, I'll use the first couple entries to get the skill set that I want, to then go ahead and when I get around to finally doing things I'm like really passionate about, it'll be great. But there's been 3 big problems with it. One, I have that unfortunate thing that I am a serial deleter. If I really don't like how something has come out, ultimately I've just fucking nuke it and just continue on.
You are the bane of me as a teacher because I get pissed at my students for doing that. I make sure they don't do that. So whenever they do that, I scold them and like smack their hand like an old like Mexican grandma away from them until they learn. I hate when people delete their stuff because you can repurpose that shit so easy and in reference for anything. Who knows if you might ever use it? Maybe not. But there's going to be a time, and you're going to probably agree with this, there's going to be a time where you're going to come back to it and you're like, fuck, why did I delete that? I could have used at least that, or I could have used that segment. I could have used that for a reference or something.
I do that for everything in terms of like tabletop planning. So whenever I'm DMing a campaign, I constantly keep every little bit of scrap because I know I can repurpose it for things later. For whatever reason, when it comes to like actually being on a creative project, nope, gone. That thought process doesn't happen. So one, that slows it down because in my brain, if it's not the way I want it, it's not worth putting out. So I keep stopping myself in doing that. So I realized that one, I need to start smaller with a much more confined project. So that way I can actually get the experience with something that I'm honestly not less passionate about, but not as passionate about, if that makes sense. You know, something that I still will want to talk about and do that deep dive in, but not something where I'm gonna look at it, you know, get mad at myself for the errors and then want to delete and start again.
Bro, what? Trivia in the chat with the hell yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I think you need to realize, and this is kind of where I'm at with a directorial standpoint with how I feel. If those stars lined up, I've always said, I've said on the podcast, I'm sure, and it's funny because now that I'm teaching film, it's like the kids have a newfound respect for the way I say that too, where I'm like, I love teaching. That's the career I want. The only thing I'd ever do is if the only way I'd ever leave is to write and direct like 1, maybe 2 movies, and I'm out, and then I come back to what I'm doing. But I would leave only for that. Once if A24 lobbed me a directorial to shoot my baby script, the one that I want, 100%, I'm out tomorrow, and I'm doing that. Like there's no way on God's green earth that I would pass that up. But then I'd come back because I don't want to. Hollywood is not a place for long-standing things, and I don't want to be part of that.
Yeah.
The way I've discovered this is I have my script. It's not where it's at anymore. I've not I've stepped away from it we talked about it actually on the Alan Wake episode that we had yesterday for Games Gone By. Shout out to us.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
that now I've written it and I've disconnected myself 6 years almost out from it that I don't remember most of it now. So I can remember beats, but I can't remember what I wrote, which is like a vague way of doing the cool thing that Eminem and Stephen King have done, where they've just been coked out of their mind and done stuff. But I just forgot because I haven't looked back at it. But I've stepped away from it, so I don't. I'm gonna go back and reshape it for sure because it's not ready. But there are parts that I would like to spice up before I get to a point where I could feel comfortable publishing it. But I've always said that's my baby, so that's the one where when I know how to do everything at a competent level, then I'm knocking that thing out. But I will do smaller projects that I don't have as attachment of a heart to, just to get myself geared up to where I'm at to feel comfortable to tackle the thing that I love. And which I'm saying with you,
Yeah.
if you and I are a little bit different, where I have a billion different ideas, you have one idea, but you hyperfixate on that one thing so much that eventually, because you're new, no matter how much effort you put into it, it will never be what you want because you're gonna get better eventually, and you're gonna look back at that thing and be like, I could have done that better, which everyone does in some sort of way, right? Shout out to like Mandela Catalog, right? They re-uploaded that first episode because he could do better, which is fair. But I mean, you gotta start somewhere. But you should start on smaller passions before you get to the big one. That's always a thought. I would let you do your thing. Like, do what you want, but
No, and that's why I was kind of going on that thought process. Is I think that is what I need to do. So I've been taking some time to kind of think of like where I would want to start with that.
And
That
where,
is still
where would you be
something I'm
uploading
passionate.
this?
I would still be doing a whole new YouTube channel. It's one of those things that on my current one, I think I'll basically just leave my main channel as my fuck around channel. Just the occasional weird upload here and there, just because it's like, fuck it, whatever. It's the one I've had for a billion years.
Right.
Why not? But I definitely agree with a lot of your sentiments on how you've kind of grown to look at it. Of now, if I'm doing like an actual dedicated long-term project, I want it somewhere fresh and just have the best algorithmic chance of succeeding.
Yeah, if you're making that much effort, don't throw it out into a void. That's literally that's no chance. Like it's not even like a sorry buddy, I'm not gonna hang out here. Like to no chance of it ever seeing light, unfortunately, because that's just YouTube algorithm is against you to a fault. Like it would take someone of a massive caliber to point you out and heed their audience at you, and that's a growth that I just feel is kind of lame. Honestly, I feel like that's just like artificial to a point that I just don't feel good about it. But like if you're talking like you're gonna do it, you gotta do it the right way, which is like you make it the size of you gotta play that algorithm if you care about it enough that you want people to watch it, which means every episode has to hit that like 10 to 15 minute mark. You have to have shorts that guide to want to watch that. You gotta pace yourself out. You gotta put yourself in breaks in there. It's a game you gotta play.
And that's the other thing I've been thinking about is in terms of like what's kind of taking so long on the project is because the shorts have like 3 core benefits. One, it helps the YouTube algorithm. 2, it's good for cross posting onto Instagram. I hate using fucking Instagram as a platform. But honestly, it is just a good, simple place to get quick engagement that you don't have to put
TikTok is more though, and you know that.
That's and that's what I was gonna say, and that's the other place for cross pollination. Because when I was doing stuff on TikTok, I actually was popping off on there a little bit. It weirdly is, as long as you are putting like genuine effort into shit, it's weirdly easy to get a little bit of steam on TikTok.
Now, just because on America, also, what's up, Sigma? Sigma's in the chat.
Hell yeah,
buddy, you were not hanging out here. I'm so sorry. I know you normally allowed here. I'm eating. Train of thought. I haven't looked into TikTok just because of my stance on I'm not using it. it's just and I'm gonna go boomer, and I've said this before. I'm pretty sure too. I say a lot of this stuff. We repeat a lot, but um, you could spend 2 hours on TikTok, and I'll ask you to
Yeah.
tell me three things you remember watching from TikTok, and I could guarantee you'll probably not even remember. Maybe you
I
might,
can tell you in general, fucking cat videos.
but you can't tell me a specific one.
Yeah.
Whereas like, and I'm not trying to act like I'm like better than now, but like the reason why I'm so hard stance on TikTok versus like YouTube is I'll watch a YouTube video where it's like, all right, yeah, it'll be like about this. This is my point exactly. I'll watch a 15-minute video into a hour-long documentary about this Arctic cruise line disaster. Cool. It sticks with me because it's long form enough for me to like retain that information. TikTok doesn't do that. It's just it's a time sink data collector that is a waste of time. And that's not to say that all like wasted time is bad. Sometimes it's like, yeah, if you need to kill a couple minutes to an hour, yeah, it's not bad. But like in moderation, because like the amount of time that is sunk in there, you're talking like for example, some teens are losing about 15 to 20 hours of their life a week just
Which
to
is
TikTok,
wild.
which I can ask them all like tomorrow. Tell me one thing you've retained from that. Nothing. And again, I'm not trying to say like, hey, you have to be learning something or that, but the fact that should be a scary thought in and of itself is that you literally can't remember anything you spent 20 hours on in there when refocus that 20 hours on playing guitar. By the end of the year, you'll know how to play a fucking instrument. Right? Like it's
Yeah.
is time better used elsewhere, or I'd rather you at least have an entertainment that you're gaining something out of rather than like this mindless fugue state that you're not getting anything out of other than just killing time. Like you're not even like being amused. Like you're playing a video game, you're stimulating your brain, you're kind of like having fun in a way, you could say. But
There's
like
an interactivity.
but like you're not gaining anything other than just like stimulating that brain that you're like needing stuff, you know? That's my rant, but that's why I was gonna say is I don't really dive on that, so I can't tell you how to fight TikTok algorithms, but I'd imagine that I can't tell what views mean because views have to be like a couple seconds of retention, or is it literally swiping by them is not going to count, or does that count? I don't know.
Swiping by them doesn't count. It's genuinely just about the like engagement more so than anything. Because the more something is liked within its first 24 hours, the more it continues to get sent to others. So that's more so on the engagement on that front.
And then what does like mean? Like I mean, and
It's like a YouTube like essentially. It's
Right.
effectively the same concept.
But at least like on YouTube likes, you could track your own likes. Can you track your own like if you liked your own TikTok?
Yeah.
Go back and watch your own that you've liked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because that
Yeah, it has all the same data calculations that YouTube does. If anything, it's in a lot of ways it has a much more efficient way of filtering content too. I will say it takes
that's
it,
the
like,
scary part.
oh,
That's
yeah.
why I don't.
Yeah.
Like fuck that. Is because like I'm well aware. Like I say this as if like again I'm trying to be better than you. Is that I know I'm gonna be addicted.
Yeah, that's why I genuinely the only time I open the app is when I'm pooping. Like that's the only time the app gets open for me. If I'm in the middle of a shit, all right, that's my TikTok time. Otherwise than that,
I'm surprised you're on TikTok. You are one of the most boomer people I know that is adamantly against a lot.
I was against it until the fiance started sending me a lot of shit that she wanted me to watch on there. Then I'm like, fine, whatever.
I've had
it's
multiple
easier to just open up the
partners.
platform.
I've had multiple partners that have all sent me TikToks, and I look at through the fucking web browser. I just am not.
I lock down my network. There's not much data that leaves it, so I'm not too worried about the data.
No, I just don't.
aspect.
I just don't touch that shit. Like it's like looking at crack cocaine and being like, should you try it? I'm like, nah, I'm good because I know.
Yeah, that's why it's reserved only for poop
my
time.
personality. Yeah. Privilege, like I said, shit talk.
Exactly.
Let's see. Yeah, I suffer the mobile website when people send me shit. Exactly what I do, and I've had a handful of love interests that were frustrated with me. Like, why don't you just download it? I'm like, no. In fact, I mentioned that I tried re-downloading it like a few months back to just follow the Chicken Dance guy. Has he got a girlfriend yet? I need to go check. I haven't checked in a few months. I don't think he does. But there's a guy that does the Chicken Dance every day until he gets a girlfriend. He's been doing it since right before COVID started. And he's been doing it every day. So we're talking like in the thousands now. Um, but I tried logging in and it just could not find my info to log in. So I was like, cool. Never got to deal with that again. I reserved Debunked on there and just, all right, it's there. It's locked and it's saved away for me. Don't know how to access it. I don't give a shit to attempt to access it enough to do that.
Yeah.
Let me read off because someone's been talking in the chat here.
Yeah.
I refuse to use TikTok. It will leave my time. Forget what I did. Stay on there for a long time. The shorts, like you said, are hard to retain information. It's too fast, too long. I'd rather use that time for games or something. And I'd rather watch ads on my phone. Yeah, we all know how much you like to watch ads on your phone when you had a big ass wall of like if the CIA walked in there, you'd think you're cooking up a dirty bomb or something.
I mean, I know I'm on watch list because of Shadowrun, so.
At back with a yellow Big Dave.
Yeah.
What are the what is it? The Anarchist Cookbook? What else is it that gets you put up there real quick? Like,
I mean, I've had to, because of Shadowrun, I've had to do Google searches for what is the exact amount of thermite that would be needed to cut through steel beams to topple a building. I've had to do Google searches for what is the exact amount of C4 that would be required to blow out several floors without destroying a building. I've had to basically a lot of Unabomber shit.
yeah.
I've had to Google a lot of Unabomber shit for Shadowrun.
Shout out to Privileged Junkie. They had I won't name their name because I don't imagine they want their stuff on there. But let me tell you their story. Is they had purchased a pressure cooker, and as it had arrived to them, it was I think the day of or the day after the Boston bombing. So legit had Fed agents go to their house, and yeah, all right, there you go. Yeah, because a friend sent me a pressure cooker, and during the shipment, the Boston bombing happened.
Oh, womp.
And so they had people show up to their place and be like, yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this person, make sure they're not part of this.
Which reminds me, just as good life advice, I'm not going to explain further. Just if you're in a town with a military base, or if you're ever in a town that has a key military resource, just know that anytime your phone's video or photo apps are open, you're being spied on. I will not elaborate further.
Whenever you're on a town with a military base,
if you're in any town that has a military base or a key military resource, just know that anytime you open up your phone or your video apps on your phone, that you are being spied on.
I mean, I could see that. I'm wondering what the logistics are of that, because like VPNs and stuff, like don't they shake off some?
I can't explain any further. I will more than happy off the conversation to explain a little bit of details.
Kel's in the chat says, "Time to show hold then." I mean,
but no, VPN does nothing for that. It's at the device level.
So they've been looking at all those David dick pics, huh?
That's right. All my fat hairy balls, all 5 of them.
Yeah, multiple. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, it says it's your device ID. Interesting. I mean, we talk about video games on the podcast every now and then.
Once in a while.
Yeah, once in a while it seems, but just fine with me. Not much to talk about. David, you got anything this week?
I got one thing. It was dirt fucking cheap. So I got this. Apparently, as part of the Classic Hero series, it's Adventure Academia. Which I guess the name would make sense for it to be part of the Class of Heroes series. But yeah, just a fun little strategy RPG. Got it for a few bucks. Why not?
Hell yeah.
Oh, and the Humble Bundle that happened, which only reason I call attention to it is this Humble Choice month was a fucking banger.
Which one was it again?
This is the one that had Disco Elysium.
Oh yeah. I purchased
Yeah.
that ahead of time too. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was an absolute fucking banger.
The Humble
You have a
choices
couple
are pretty
days-
good.
They're kind of hit and miss. Usually, there's always at least one game that I'm like, yeah, I wanted
If you
that
do not
anyways,
buy
which makes it
anything
worth it.
on Steam, just don't and let the Humble Bundles kind of play things. Man, dude, if we had a life where we just started playing video games now, I would just do a Humble Bundle, and that's just good timing. Like, don't buy games.
Yeah.
Play out like right now. You could do like a Humble Bundle and like Game Pass, and you don't have to pay for shit. You could stop being like us idiots that spend way too much money. Like, you could just be cruising with those, and that's it.
Straight up. I mean, I've had my Humble monthly basically since they introduced the concept of it.
Lately, they've been good.
They've been pretty solid, and it's one of those things that honestly, the underutilized aspect of the Humble monthly is the savings.
Also,
that
they
you
stack
get in the
savings
store.
on there. Yeah. So
Yeah.
once you get that, it's like what, up to like.
It's up to the max of 20% off any
Yeah,
purchase.
I'm like I'm almost at 17% right now. So once that hits, and then once they start stacking like on the sales when they mirror the Steam sales,
Yep.
it's good shit.
That's what I do. Is I don't buy anything unless I can either get it on already a sale there, or on like the rare times where like Green Man Gaming or Fanatical has an even better deal there. I'll grab it there. But otherwise, that's what I do. Oh, and speaking of which, I did get a couple other things. Shout outs to the RPG Maker franchise. They had a massive sale on their older games. I got RPG Maker VX 2000, 2003, and XP all combined or all together for like $3. Fucking shout out to that. I got them because a lot of my youth was spent pirating these games. So I went ahead and was like, you know what? I'll throw them $3 to make up for the years of piracy there. I'm sure that makes the difference.
Hell yeah. Just referencing back to what we were talking about a second ago. Sigma goes, all the most I'm gonna see here on my phone is the Sonic Adventure 2 OST, and then Kel just went back. They'll just see pictures of Shadow the Hedgehog and sick ass poses. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
See, I've been playing Nexomon and Cassette Beats. I heard Cassette Beats is really good. Other than that, playing Pokemon.
I got it
Unite and
downloaded
Go.
because it's on Game Pass. I haven't played it yet though.
I've been doing a lot of Pokemon Go as well, Sigma. I did Go Fest last weekend. Caught myself a couple shiny Rayquazas, whatever you want to call them. Let's say I'm playing Horde mode on Doom Eternal, they say. Make a Blue Rupees RPG. That'd be hilarious.
I have wanted to actually like make a game for ever. I mean, that's what I originally was going to college for, was game development. And then I realized that I was never going to do that in Maine. So
I think
didn't
you
bother.
and Gore did the same thing with that. I think he's both did game development in college and just never happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Gore finished college, didn't he? I did not.
I'm not sure. You didn't even finish high school.
Technically, no.
Hell yeah.
I dropped out.
Shout out to all our young listeners out there. You too can be just like Thick Dave if you drop out of high school.
Hell yeah.
Look at that, man. You want to be like him? Drop out. Don't kiss him. It's weird.
Anyways, Kel's in the chat. I caught a ton of RPG Makers too. Such a good deal. Yeah, no, 100%. I keep telling myself one day, because I got actually a lot of software on Steam for game development stuff. I have 35 softwares on Steam for game development and whatnot. And I keep telling myself that one day I'll do something with those, and I keep buying more, saying to myself, it's gonna happen one day.
I'm sorry.
I have yet to fucking do that.
I'm laughing at Baggy's comment just now.
Does that mean David can resume his high school at ages?
Just
No, I graduated through night school, so I do have my degree. It's just not through regular.
It's not
day
real.
school. That's right.
No, I'm imagining thick as Dave, just the behemoth he is, walking through the
Just
halls.
rock it up.
Yeah.
I'll fucking set your students straight. It's fine.
Some of them need it, dude.
I'll just walk on up. Hello, fellow kids. Fucking manhandle them.
Yeah, it's. I've got a lot of stories, which is unfortunate. Some of them are, you know what though? This year, I've had a lot of really good ones though. I say that there's always going to be a couple of annoying brats, but I mean, when I look at like the teacher subreddit and all that, and I see everyone talking about how like they're just monsters in their classroom that are ridiculously disrespectful, I'm like, ooh, I'm dodged all that somehow. Um, I have a way of just talking to them, and I think being able to like whack them away when they like try to do some nonsense, just because I have the patience of a billion gods when it comes to things sometimes, or like the fact that I've like worked with kids that have murdered other kids or other adults in the juvenile center. I'm like, yeah, you are is just annoying. It's fine. Like I don't really care. Um,
Kel's in the chat real quick. Blue Rupees Game Gen 1. Tell you what, we got a lot of people asking for shit. I'm not going to be like Harada. You can ask me for shit.
OnlyFans.
I'm going to tell you what, audience. If you guys can get us to consistently 1,000 people engaging with Blue Rupees, you got it.
Bots do count.
We will get... go ahead and get us 1,000 user engagement on streams, and I will take the time to make us a Blue Rupee RPG.
Here's the thing. David giving Adrian a good night kiss when? Yeah. The behemoth of a man. There's a... We mentioned this in Away Games Gone By, but David will sell out.
Yeah, easily.
If there was...
I have no hesitation.
Which is also... It should be ironic that David's also the person to call out companies for selling out. But he himself...
I call out a lot of companies for getting soulless. There's a difference.
Yeah, you got mad at Remedy for having Verizon as a person that they were sponsored by to make their DLC for free.
Was I mad at that?
Yeah, I told you.
I thought it was dumb, but I didn't think I got mad about it.
Yeah, it's just a little bit.
All right, I mean that's fair. I'll own that.
You do have to. That's a part of David's charm. Is the hypocrisy every once in a while is part of the charm. David has double standards for some things.
I'll own up to it, though. If I genuinely got that mad about it, I'll own up to it.
You get mad. You get like mad, but you could tell there was like ew. Too much wine during that podcast. There could be. But David will.
I think that may have been one of the few ones in recent while I was sober, actually.
So like, if there was in some mythical universe where this podcast was able to like run on its own, David would volunteer. If it was able to like, it was financially viable, 100% David would volunteer his ass and like just run the podcast and do that, and would like hustle his ass off to sell out to anyone else he could. He would,
straight up. If we could actually get this podcast into a viable platform, I would not hesitate to dump any and every bit of energy to continue to grow it. And honestly, what better way to go ahead and create cross-pollination for viewership and create new engagement than creating little indie games? Fuck it. Why not?
Yeah, Angry Video Game Nerd had one. Game Grumps had one.
Yeah. But Game Grumps actually had one?
Didn't they? Or no, the Yog. I'm thinking the Yog.
Yogcast did. Game Grumps, weren't they technically in that Dream Daddy game? I think that might be it.
Probably. Every YouTuber of some sorts is in some game somehow, some way.
Speaking of which, shout outs to Russell Quest. There are some YouTubers in there. One of these days I do want to pick that game up. I'm very excited for playing that. Looks really good.
Hell yeah.
Invincible's in it.
I forgot that you got carded if you bought spray paint.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you get carded if you buy spray paint.
Since when?
Sad, so I thought, but it makes sense to me because you can get high off that shit, and I mean, who's always doing dumb shit with it? Kids.
I've literally never been carded for that, but then again, even when I was a teen, I didn't get carded.
I don't think it was back then. So the seniors at my school, they get to paint their parking spot. At the beginning of the year, that's like their tradition, and they were doing that, and then one of my new ones this year, she goes, "Hey, can I give you my credit card and you go out and buy me spray paint? I'm like, no and no. Why? And there was like, I just need spray paint to finish up this. I'm like,
Why are your parents not doing it?
I was like, well, first I asked, why don't you go? And then so they mentioned, I was like, oh, I forgot. Yeah, that is a thing. And then yeah, no, like the parents were busy that night. They helped them the next morning. Yeah, they usually they knock it out like in a couple hours, but so many students did it because the shouts to our activities director. They were able to just like get so much money for like free paint for the students to like rock on their own without having like, because paint's expensive as shit. But they managed to like afford a bunch of paint for us to use on there, and some of the kids had to like get their own eventually because they got like so intricate with it. Let me show you my favorite one that one student did. One student.
Why are you looking that up?
One student did the Squidward painting.
Oh, yep.
The Bold and the Brash.
Also, shouts to Sigma. You get carded for buying multiple phones too. That's interesting.
Yeah, you do get over certain over the counter medicine. It was really good. I saw that. I was like, "What are you painting there?" Bold and the Brash Squidward. Like, you're ridiculous. Someone drew a wrecking ball. Some Miles Morales. There's some really, really cool ones in there. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. That was like, I was like, that sucks. I was like, I kind of want to go buy spray paint now just to spite everyone. Why not? Something Patriot Act. Yeah, probably. All right, so here's what I got this week. Actually, I didn't get it. I got it a while back, but I keep forgetting to show it off. I got that nice vinyl.
Oh
set.
yeah,
yeah.
That looks fucking clean.
Yeah, that thick ass vinyl. I actually got the Persona 5 one. I'm way too lazy to go grab it, but yeah, this is a clean one. I really want to get the other one.
I will say, it really asked me a different day. I think just because I do have a stronger connection to Persona 5, I do like its soundtrack a little bit more because of bias. But
it's rock.
Fucking Persona 4's soundtrack slaps.
Persona 4's is a lot more lively and like, it's a lot more happy, like a lot more like, it's like a good summertime groove.
Yeah.
Persona 5 is a little more grungier though. It's a little more grimy because it's got that SMT kick onto it, especially when you get to the Royal soundtrack. It's got straight SMT songs on it, and I fuck with that style more in general. But I agree. I think depending on my mood, it could swing one way or the other. But I think Persona 5 in general is more or less my favorite of the soundtracks.
I mean, it does have not only one of, but two of the best fucking final boss themes. So,
oh my god,
I will gladly listen to that 16 fucking minute version of the Bay off any fucking day.
Sorry, I'm eating and it's fucking cat.
I mean, as long as you're not eating the cat.
Eat that pussy, David.
Hell yeah. Nom nom nom.
Yeah, so David, what you been playing?
I've actually played a lot lately.
Stop being
ever
annoying.
Since we
Not you.
Look at that sweet little brain. There's nothing in there, but it's there. No, so ever since we talked about Xbox going down in, next year, I've had like this weird itch to go ahead and play some old Xbox Live Arcade games. So I played a little bit of Hexic HD, the classic, the one everyone has.
Yep.
It's honestly
a good little puzzle game.
Yeah, it still just kind of scratches that itch of like, I just kind of want to fuck around with something for a little bit.
There's a charm we don't get in our consoles anymore, which you know what it I don't know how to describe it. It kind of feels a little analog-y, but like Fusion Frenzy Gang, yeah, big shouts to that. Yeah. But there's like a certain aesthetic that I miss when it comes to like when it hits different, right? Whenever it's late night, you're talking like 8 or 9 p.m. The lights are off. when you're talking like on a big ass tube TV, like a really nice but big tube TV,
Yeah.
when you turn that on and it's like there's like a comfort behind doing like playing just a really simple puzzle game that you pop on 360, play on like put on Hexic, put on like Feeding Frenzy, stuff like that. Those kind of like easy games, like the simple ones that you just play for a little bit and then you call it. Or you know what I miss a lot, just because, and I actually do this a lot in hotels still. I'll just leave the TV Guide channel on.
Really?
It's a weird comfort. I don't know, like I'm sure there's some psychological like the opposite of being fucked with, for lack of a better word, of a psychological trauma. The opposite of that is more like a psychological comfort I have behind the TV Guide channel. I don't know what it is.
There is something weirdly nostalgic about it.
It's nostalgic. It's probably my earliest form of ADHD, where something is always going on and it's always scrolling by. There's multiple things to look at. You look at the channels or the program, channels of the program. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'll do that in hotels still every once in a while, where I'll just like go in there and I could pop on YouTube. I can watch whatever they're on. Sometimes I'll just leave it on the TV Guide channel if they have one and just let it roll. And I don't know why. You know what? I tried looking for this like maybe a decade ago. So shout out to anyone who might be able to. Um, this is the deepest cut. At Circus in Las Vegas, Nevada, they had a TV Guide channel style thing of the resort. Where, you know what? This might fucking be. I might have just discovered it about me. I don't know. It could be. It might be a stretch too. So they would have a TV Guide style thing where they would just keep rotating the same like 15, 20-minute program, just showing you stuff from the resort. And it would have like mini skits. Like there'd be these two clown cops. They'd be doing this, and then they would be running around. And then they finish like, "Oh, that was a tough time. You know what we should do is let's go get a bite to eat." And they would go to the dining restaurant in the resort or hotel, whatever you want to call it. And that's where they would be advertising that, or they would advertise like this like sad clown who didn't know what to do, and then he had fun playing in the arcade or whatever they call it. I looked for that, just randomly. I looked for that to see if I could find where that was in the if it was like someone had like, I kind of want to like dig through YouTube. I'm like, maybe someone has that, but that shit I would leave that on, and my mom and dad would just leave and go gamble for like hours, and I would just be I'd be like a teen on TikTok, just watching it, and I would just like, I don't know. I think that's my comfort. That might be it. It's just, I just have comfort in that for whatever reason. So it's funny, like when it comes back as a scary analog style thing, you know, because like some like Local 58, I think has done that or something like that. It doesn't scare me. I'm like that's some comforting shit. I don't know why. Steve Hash Brown, this is Orange Juice. Say what's up.
Number one, good boy.
Say hi. Nope, he's not borrowing the brain cell right now. That's the Privilege Junkie. It's a sign that shit is going on elsewhere, even if you're in for the evening. It's comforting. Yeah, just like there's like a bunch of options, but they don't really need to be. There's not a bunch of options, but it's also got a program playing in case you decide on an option. Yeah, and it's kind of where I'm at now. So I've been on a kick of I always go to bed with the TV on. I can't. I just need noise. I can sleep without it, but it helps a lot.
It is so much more relaxing to have the noise.
I forget reading a while back that we're a generation that just has grown up on so much loud noises that's our comfort. As opposed to like way back in the olden days where that's the opposite. But I watch a lot of those like 3 hours of creepy Reddit threads or mysteries that have gone like that, and I'll just leave that on. I've watched them over and over again, but it's like I pass out anyway right away pretty quickly. But it sucks when there's a new one, because it's like I'll lay down there and I'll wake up in the middle of the night. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting, and I'll just like stay awake just to listen to the whole thing, and then I'm like, oh fuck, I'm awake. The original TikTok could be. Where'd I get on that tangent from?
Very good question.
I don't remember where that came from. Hexic HD.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Also, real quick, Kel's in the chat. I turn on One Piece. It won't end before I go to bed. I mean, fair. You just leave it running on loop for days at a time and still have plenty. But yeah, so I played that. I played some Gyromancer as well, that kind of like RPG puzzle game by Square Enix way back when. I also went ahead and played a few games that were on Game Pass that I've been meaning to at least sample to figure out if they're games I wanted or not. One of the ones I took some time to play, and I'm glad I listened to you on that one, is I did play a little bit of Scorn.
Okay.
Aesthetically, 100% up my alley. Gameplay wise, absolutely not.
That's how I felt.
I put it like about an hour into it, and I was fucking.
That's about where I did, and it's not even just bad. It's just kind of like not what I was.
Everything marketing the game makes it feel like it's gonna be like almost like
A survival
Doom,
horror
but
game.
with more of like an actual horror elements to it.
I didn't even know it was gonna be Doom. I thought it'd be like survival horror, but like it's just exploring and like occasionally something happens.
Yeah,
It looks incredible.
it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I want to.
just-
I want to see if I can approach it someday where maybe I'm in a better headspace for that game because I would love to just like explore it just for the visuals alone. But yeah, it just did not intrigue me enough. That's almost a game I kind of want to watch someone just do a let's play of,
Yeah,
which I might do. But I don't like doing that for a whole game. I never have, and just does not seem like something I would like. But
I'll do it for some games where it's like I know it's one I'm not gonna play anyways, but I'm curious about the story.
sure.
And then if the story's good enough, then usually I'll go back and buy the game when it's on sale or something at least. That way the developer gets some money. But
Right.
another thing good.
No, you're good.
Another thing I did end up playing is that Metal Hellsinger game. The one that's like
and I heard the soundtrack
Metal.
is phenomenal.
Yeah, soundtrack is fantastic. I realized very quickly it's not the game for me though.
Damn,
Which
that's
is
a double whammy
unfortunate.
for you so far.
It's one of those things that soundtrack is fantastic, aesthetically fantastic, and conceptually I love the idea of it because even though I'm bad at them, I do like rhythm games. But putting a forced rhythm game mechanic to an action RPG just doesn't feel right.
Okay, I can see that.
So it's one of those things that you still move around, you run, and you attack, but you explicitly have to attack because
Yeah.
the song's always playing. So you always have to
So
perpetually
it's
be on beat
kind
to
of
the
like
song.
Crypt the Necro Dancer.
Yes, which it made me realize I'm probably not gonna like that game.
You're not.
either.
No, 0%
Yeah.
chance. I can promise you. Don't even try.
So that's kind of one of those unfortunate things that I was really excited for that game because conceptually I love everything about it, but in practice,
Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah,
You want-
I want to do that one next.
yeah.
I did not get around to that yet.
Same thing. You're not gonna like it because like you're.
Oh, is it a rhythmy kind of game?
Yeah. So it's like your weapons like go to the beat like do. So you attack it like do or something like that.
Oh,
Yep.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So I mean, unfortunate for you. The game itself is fantastic, but it's not you're not gonna like it.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's the thing is like conceptually, fucking great. I love it conceptually. Just in practice of playing it, it just wasn't for me. Hey, Crazy 8 Pepperoni, good to see you.
What up? Man, I got a good crew in this chat tonight.
Hell yeah. I've also played a lot of PS1 games, just because I finally wanted to like break in my wireless PS1 controller I got. I got like the Defenders wireless.
Almost 2,000 Siscals.
Hell yeah. We're getting there. One step at a time. Again, 100%. I'm serious. You get us 1,000 viewership, we will do it.
If you had an OnlyFans, would you show your asshole?
Yeah.
Yeah, like genuinely, it's not like that's like a like character defaming thing where you're like, no, at that point, like that's out there for the world, and I'm never coming back from that.
Yeah, fuck it for the right price. Why not?
David will sell out for anything. Fuck it.
It's all about the price, my friend. All about the
sure.
price.
Sure, continue.
Most things have a value to them. That's all I'm saying.
Most, okay. Dave will go full on Magic Mike. He would if there's a price on that. David would 100%. Uh, so I won't name their name, but would you do that Fiverr? And if someone offered you money to do DDR naked, would you do that?
I mean, no, Fiverr, they can't afford me to do that.
If he picks it to sell more, this is true. I'll tell a story because out of context it sounds weird. There's someone out there who was doing Fiverr, and they would do dance requests. This was like early on Fiverr when everything was legit $5, not like Fiverr and it's a billion. They would just do dance requests for $5, and one person messages them saying, "Hey, do this dance on expert." They're like, "Okay," and then they said, "I'll give you a little more money if you do it naked." And then that freaked them out, and they just went and closed their account. That's not even try. Just close the account. Just done. Oh man.
All right, good shit.
That's one of my favorite stories I ever heard. Next to their who was who were they talking to this entire time?
I still tell that story to everyone.
So that's a story too, where David's tag before and yield in days was Vane Zyler, and he went on that. He went with that with everything.
Yeah.
And this person had just was at because I think you were on Vane, you were Vane Zyler, you were VZ uninstall whatever, but you were Vane Zyler. That's how everyone knew you.
Yeah.
And they had found Vane Zyler on PSN and messaged them, and they have been messaging him for a long time.
And it may be someone that's in our chat right now.
And they were messaging this person for a long time, and they thought that was David until like at one point, like years down the road, we're trying to play some PlayStation game. We don't play on online PlayStation that much. It might have been like I forget what even game, but
I think we're trying to get everyone together for Tekken.
Yeah, that sounds right. And yeah, we're trying to do that, and then they go, "I'm trying to invite you. I'm inviting you. You're not replying. You're not replying." He's like, "What do you mean? I don't get any invites." They go, I was like, "All right." So then David invite him. They didn't. He's like, "Oh, that's your tag." Yeah. Then who I've been speaking to this entire time. It's just this guy for years, just been friends with him, just have no idea about him.
Yeah, because on Xbox and on whatchamacallit there,
Steam?
PSN, on PSN and Xbox there, my handles are entirely different from everything else I use everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Little junkie, that is the rage.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Oh yeah, no worries. So I want to go ahead, put it through its paces. It's a fantastic. Specifically, we're talking about the Retrobit Fighters Defender controller. It's called.
Okay.
It's a Bluetooth wireless PS1 and PS2 controller. If you're playing literally anything other than a fighting game, it's fantastic. The D-pad is way too mushy and way too unresponsive for playing a fighting game proper with it. And the analog stick is fine, but it's stiff in weird ways where it does not feel right. For like, if I'm using an actual official any PlayStation controller, really, I have that years of ingrained muscle memory, which is why I also hate playing fighting games on controller on any other platform because it's not the same.
That's what I'll say with that ROG Ally is that apparently everyone loves the sticks on there because they're all magnets.
Yes, I think they have the Hall effects ones.
That way, they just never burn out like these. Like all your sticks eventually will.
Yeah. Well, not all will eventually. It's just more modern analog sticks do have more of a tendency to because of the parts that we're using. But I mean, Hall effects is stuff that's gone back to like the fucking. I think the Dreamcast controllers all use Hall effects.
Isn't it like that? Every button's only supposed to take this many million of inputs before it actually breaks out.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But Yeah, so I put it through its paces. I played some Mortal Kombat Trilogy. I played some Guilty Gear 1. I played a little bit of fuck was it? It's some Japanese exclusive fighting game that I can't remember the name to right now. But it's just a weird little curiosity piece that I have on my PlayStation. And then I played some Legend of Legaia because I was going through some shit this weekend and yesterday that Adrian is privy to. But my brain needed a little bit of a serotonin boost, and Legend of Legaia is an absolute fucking hidden gem of an RPG on the PS1 that I absolutely adore. So I played through the whole intro segment to that. I needed that serotonin going. Um, Played a little bit of Command and Conquer on PS1. I just tinkered with a lot of different little games on PS1 just to kind of really put that control through its paces. And honestly, if you're playing anything other than a fighting game, I recommend the controller. If you're wanting to play a fighting game, then you're either going to want to be using the official PlayStation controllers or an actual arcade stick. But that's and of course Alan Wake, which hey, if you haven't yet, go watch our Games Gone By episode that we put
Yesterday's
out
was
last
really
week.
good. So
Yesterday's was an absolute banger.
yeah, so I thought the first episode, the one that kind of got fucked up with audio, was solid, but we ended up turning the American Nightmare episode into a retrospective because I had been playing Control's Alan Wake DLC, and it went off like on a really cool deep dive of us just like going full speculation mode and like harkening back to how we did things where we would like speculate on all these different like series, like the online web series, but like with Alan Wake now. And I gave my whole theory on what Alan Wake actually is, and it was a really good episode. Like if you go back in, it was a solid couple hours. We dived in and out of places. We gave some interesting theories, multiple ones. Talked about the validity of each of them. Talked about how Alan Wake, I believe, is a it is an entire series built on. I mean, it sounds obvious when you say it, but like when you deep dive it, it's a little more. But like it's obvious, like the story of the game being Alan Wake can't write because he has that creator's block. That the whole game actually is a mirror reflection of that writer's block or writer's process just being amplified, and like the tortured creator inside of all of us that have to deal with that. It's on twitch.tv/games gone by podcast. And it will also be going up on the YouTube. Where can they find it after? It will be going up on YouTube soonish. Let me figure out how that upload's going to work because I want to make it also do an audio podcast, and that requires a new feed on there. But it is saved in the archive right now. So if you go to that Twitch right now, you'll see that episode there.
Also, real quick, Crazy Pepperoni's other comment. My thoughts on Project L is it looks fucking jank. It really looks like a Flash game, and to me, I like that it's a 2v2 fighter. I appreciate the concept of them doing like Mortal Kombat 10's tag mode, where like you can legitimately have 4 players involved in playing the game. But all in all, it's not impressing me so far.
I'm just excited to see the fan base and the FGC grow from that.
I hope it does create growth.
I don't see how it wouldn't in that sense. Once that happens and once Evo hits, if Evo continues on that trajectory of how well it's been doing, I'm happy. I'm gonna be in a good mood. Anything else, David?
Nope.
Let's see. I beat Control last night. I was literally at the end. It was great. I'm going through and just cleaning up the side missions and here and there. But yeah, I've had a fantastic time with Control. Very excited for Alan Wake 2. Yeah, I won't. I mean, I feel like I've been talking about enough. Oh, okay, I can talk about fuck it. Control is a. I mentioned this on that episode, but I'll talk about why I like it. Is it very much sedates me in my brain where it's like, all right, I'm doing action. I need to stop for a second. And when normally I'd be like, all right, grab my phone and read something for a second, I'll find a collectible that lets me stop the action and read for a second. So it gives me that stop and go that I like, that David hates, but I personally like a lot. Um, it's aesthetically beautiful. Or find a creepy puppet play. Yeah. I was playing, I had a friend watching, and occasionally they didn't see the whole thing, but then whenever they'd come over, they'd hang out, and they would just see me stop there. They'd be like, "What is that?" I'm just like, "Shh, just watch. You're not gonna get it, but like, just watch." Um, which is funny. Out of context, if you just hop into any part control, it's the weirdest game. It already is the weirdest game. You walk around and you see bodies just floating in the air and stuff like that. It's always so wild, but it really is a fantastic game. Might I might even go as far to, because what came out in 2019? What was my game of the year 2019? Hold up. Game Awards. Resident Evil 2 might have been my game of the year, but I could see Control probably would have taken it at this point. Was that an RE2 remake for my game of the year that year? Yeah, those are the battles. Disco Elysium came out though, so eventually when I get that, I can imagine that can also be up there, depending if the writing is as phenomenal as people say it is. I do want to give Death Stranding a go eventually too. That's one of the games that's been on my list. Yeah, Gears 5 was definitely not. 2019 was a weird year. It was like one of those years where like everyone was a contender because there was no big standout. Yeah, I'm looking through. Luigi's Mansion 3 was great. Fire Emblem 3 Houses, I forgot that happened. Was that not nominated for Game of the Year? Wow, what the fuck? Interesting. But yeah, no, Control is awesome, and that might have been my game of the year that year if that's the case. But I also feel like the Alan Wake DLC definitely amplified that a lot for me. I started to play, it was good, but I have the tendency to start a game and then not finish it all and then start another game. Yeah, that's I start a lot of games. I don't get past a couple hours in each of them just because I don't have that hook. I mentioned with David that I need a hook. I need like something that grasps me out the gate. And I started Control probably like 2 or 3 times already beforehand. But what got me this time was the fact that I've already been on this train of Alan Wake, and I didn't feel like I had to like set my brain up for how the game was gonna be. It was like, all right, I played Alan Wake. I've been used to stop and go action already. Cool. Played American Nightmare. Used to stop and go still. Now I'm on Control. Stop and go. That's fine with me. I'm chilling. I got this.
Power.
It is the cat. That was me a lot of single player games. Yeah, that's how I am. Multiplayer games, easy.
Like,
I can play through because I can't pause. But those ones,
Okay,
it's
where
a
are
lot.
you going, buddy?
It's a lot tougher. We're talking about how we can't finish games.
Hell yeah. That's honestly low key a reason why I'm so glad to have Games Gone By back, because it did keep me really focused on staying good about finishing shit before moving on to something new.
Yeah.
And then I got really bad about it again when we stopped doing Games Gone By.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was our initial reasoning for it, was that it's funny because like we have a reason behind a lot of the podcasts, just like, and a reason to keep us like constantly going rather than just like, oh, let's just do it. It's like, all right, like this keeps Dave and I talking. Not that we would never talk if we didn't, but like adult life means that like if we didn't have this podcast, I'd contact David maybe like once every 6 months with a quick like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Glad you're doing well. See you next year. Not in a bad way, but that's just like we're busy, and
that's just how we are. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. But like not. You categorize people as dependable because you know they are and they will be. Like at any point, I'm sure. Like if I didn't talk to David for a couple of years, I'm sure I can call him up and be like, "Hey, there's an emergency." Be like, "Yeah, what's up? Let's figure it out." But that's what this is. And then with Games Gone By, it was like, we have a backlog. Let's knock some of that out. The world of Mass Effect was your hook. That's fair. That's Mass Effect is one that really grips you. I'm curious with some of the Games Gone By games. Do you ever have a tendency to 100% it?
I have some of them. Like when we did Bloodstained Ritual tonight, 100% of that one.
I did.
For me, It really depends on like how down the rabbit hole I end up going with the game.
I want to say I might have 100% at Curse of the Moon. I forget if I did or not. I have to look back and see which ones I'm thinking of. Curse of the Moon.
I nearly did for Nier Automata. I just didn't because I was gonna I knew I was gonna replay it one day, so I'm like, fuck it, I'll 100% on PlayStation, so I didn't bother.
Yeah, I couldn't because I did that whole thing and the delete your save thing in the credits, which I think
you were a good man for that.
Yeah, I remember Gore said that was dumb of me, but I was like, I don't know. Once Yoko Taro had me at the end, I'm like, I'm just gonna go with it. Like, I can't. I don't want to deviate off this. It's such a really good ride that I'm like, let's make this a whole feel good ride. If I ever replay it again, I'll replay it again and I'll do what I gotta do. But like, that was a moment. That was a moment, right? That
yeah,
you had to go with. Let me look back really quick because I'm curious.
Doki Doki is one that technically, after the fact, I'll be 100% because I do need to go back and finish up a couple trophies in the plus version of that. I'm trying to think what the fuck we've even done for games gone by. Undertale, I did not 100%.
Dead Space did not.
Nope.
Inside, I think I already did at some point.
I was close to doing it for Inside, but I think there was like one achievement that was really dumb I didn't want to go back for.
Right. Let's see. No, I don't think there might have been really anything that I mean, Curse of the Moon might have been the closest one I had a tendency to, or not tendency. I did 100%. I think I need to go look and check, but if not, I was close. I remember I did a lot of the stuff that I didn't. That was a funny episode because I remember that just showed why my brain is the way it is. Because what was it? I didn't know I had a double jump, or I missed a double jump early on or something like that. So I played the whole game the hardest way I could have right out the gate. Oh no!
And you also killed everyone.
Yeah, that's what I did. I killed everyone because that's what I was supposed to do. I'm like, how are these motherfuckers beating this game so easy? This is a hard fucking game.
Motherfucker goes ahead and gives me shit for just murking everyone in sight in Nier Automata.
Well, they have literal white flags. They're robots that are cute and they have white flags and they're like singing. Like that's different.
Everyone was minding their own business. None of them were hostile.
And that was a genocide. Mine was 4 people.
Yeah, you genocided the heroes.
Mine was 4 people. Yours was a genocide of a surrendering nation. Yours is legitimately unfortunate. Like there's like
mine is an actual war crime.
Yeah, like they're. If I could teach Nier Automata in a class, I would use you as an example of a bad person. You are a bad person. Do they not have plushes of the robots? They have to have plushes of the robots, right?
I don't think they do actually, not officially.
Why? Because those things are adorable. Except David would fucking kill them.
I do actually want to get one. If they did ever have one officially, I would get one for the fiance.
Let's see. Here I said y'all committed a war crime in game. Yep. Steve Hash Brown. It was only 4 people, Your Honor. It was only 4 people. And I still saved the whole place. Like, I'm sorry. And you know what? They can't prove at the end that they were good. I just took care of the problem.
All right, let's see here. What remains of Vita Thin Shot 100%ed?
Well, you kind of have to.
You don't have to.
Oh, the extra is there collectibles in there? I forget.
There's like challenge things, like getting the rat as the hawk without missing.
Which I don't like those. I feel like it takes you out of it a little bit too much. I like achievements. I get that they have to be a thing, but like those are the games I wish just didn't have achievements.
Let's see. I did not 100% God of War. Fuck that. You know what game I definitely didn't 100% is Frog Fractions.
I'm bummed you didn't like that game. I felt like that was a cool meta narrative that you would have enjoyed.
I did not enjoy that in the slightest.
Detroit Become Human?
Games I did not enjoy. Watch Dogs 2 I did not 100%.
Detroit Become Human?
I did not 100% that either.
David's
Did
looking
not
back at
percent-
these games he's played. He's like, fucking, I hate that game. I hate that game. I hate that game.
I did not 100% Last of Us, nor Brothers.
Yeah, I forget you hated Brothers. You're an idiot.
Let's see what else. I did not 100% Shadow of the Colossus.
That's fair. And Slave Odyssey to the West, I did not.
I did not 100% that.
Oh, you 100% EDF?
I do want 100% Grim Fandango. I just hate the idea of playing in the retro mode. I hate the weird tanky control scheme
Is
for it.
that one of them play the whole thing in
Yeah, you have to play the whole thing in the classic control mode, and I really don't want to do that.
Ah, dude. Do they have a plush of what's his name?
Manny?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
not Manny. Who's the friend again?
Oh, fuck.
Glob.
It's like, yeah, it's some kind of G
Glob.
name.
Oh fuck. Fuck.
Go. Oh man.
You're gonna hate it when you look it up. Glottis? I didn't even look at it. I saw it before.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. I got it. I got it without looking at it. I said Glottis before I saw it.
Perfect.
Did I have a Glottis plush? I'm gonna look that up right now.
While you look that up, I most certainly did not 100% Metal Gear Rising. I also most certainly did not 100% Little Nightmares. Even to this day, I have not 100%ed Earth Defense Force 5 because there is a lot involved in 100%ing that game. They're fucking...
Dude, man. I'll never.
Bioshock, I have not 100. No, Bioshock, I have 100%ed in the past.
I wish I could even.
The only trophy, the only trophy I don't have is for one of the DLCs because one of the DLCs requires you to do a speed run to get the final trophy. Which fuck that.
Oh, dude. Oh, I want this. Hold up. I'm putting in the Discord. Look at Discord. Tell me you don't want that right now.
Hold on. Let me take a look. That is fantastic.
It's hold on, I gotta.
Didn't we do a season 2 retrospective?
Yeah. There you go.
I'm not finding it.
We did. Let's see. I want so bad. Well, one of Manny and his bro, dude. It is a perfect mug. I love Grim Fandango. That's a game I don't.
It was such a fantastic game.
I need to go back and just kind of. I want to replay that game again because I don't think I quite knew what I was getting myself into with it. I think it didn't really dawn on me until like towards the end of how much I really cared about this world and these characters. I felt like I was kind of playing through the motions of it. Because that's the unfortunate thing about games gone by, especially if it's not as planned out as we did with this year, or the way we're doing it now, where it's like some games I just wasn't in the mood for, and I didn't plan ahead of time. So even though like I liked it, I didn't really get to prepare myself in a way that I felt like I had a choice in. Versus now, it's like, all right, we're playing Nier soon, we're playing Resident Evil, or not Resident. Well, yeah, we're playing Resident Evil soon and Final Fantasy soon. Like we're playing those. But Grim Fandango was an out of left field thing that I wasn't sure about. But man, like I'll never forget like that moment just hits so much of just like Manny and Glottis saying goodbye to each other. That's such a, like one of the most heartfelt moments in any video game. I feel like I don't know what it was.
Oh, it's fucking soul crushing.
I don't know what it was. It hits different when it's saying goodbye to a friend, and it's not like it's not a like death goodbye. It's just like that's it. Like our story's done together, brother. We're out. We gotta go do our own thing. So it's just something about that thematically. It just hits. It hits wholly different. I think it's because that doesn't really happen too much in stories where it's like you go off on your own thing. Yeah. But like especially that being a one and done story too, it hits different.
I'm genuinely glad you enjoyed it as much as you ended up doing, because that was something that I could have foreseen, not necessarily going poorly, but I know I had built up a reputation for some of my picks. It was very much either it was going to be a wild ride that was very divisive, or it was going to be something that everyone was going to get suckered into. And that was a game that I had a lot of nostalgia for. So I was genuinely worried on if people were going to have the same reverence for that I did versus it just being nostalgia for me.
Yeah, well, it's because you had a lot of meme picks.
I had meme picks, but like I had a lot of bangers at the same time.
Sure, there were a lot of meme picks though. Which is that was you set the tone off early with that.
I did indeed.
But yeah, no. I wonder actually. Let's see, David. Let's.
Yo.
We got 2 roads we're gonna go down before we wrap this podcast up. We're at an hour and 20, which feels weird. Like I feel like we've been talking for a lot longer. We can do one of 2 things. I want us to reminisce on games gone by and go through maybe like our top like 5, maybe 10. I'd say like maybe top 5 episodes that we enjoyed. Or do you want to go back to this fighting game roster and do your DLC?
I think the game's gone by.
Because we're on that mind right now.
Of cross proportioning, yeah, and because I'm in that. And first up, the first one that immediately comes to mind, because I feel like it was the first one where I feel like we had genuinely a lot of fun during a conversation. Go ahead.
Let me cut off really quick. Steve
Yeah.
asked, what days do you go live? We go live with Blue Rupees every Tuesday, and then the second Monday and final Monday of the month, we usually have a Games Gone By Now. So, for example, on September 11th, we'll have Final Fantasy VII, and then on September 25th, we will have Resident Evil 7. Those are our upcoming 2.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So let's go back and dive back into some Games Gone By stuff, because I like where we're on this. I love the random tangents that'll just drive us in here.
Good shit. So yeah, the first one that immediately comes to mind when I think of like the conversations that we did have a lot of fun with, or at least I did, is honestly Doki Doki Literature Club. I feel like that set a good tempo because it was one of our first few episodes, and it truly was something that I 100% knew what was going on, and I was able to prep people for the right way to experience the game. And it was just
so
fucking peak.
It's a meme among like my esports students where they keep mentioning it, and what was it like? I'll mention it, and they just kind of like scoff. I'm like, there's always someone saying Doki Doki Literature Club, but then they mention like one of them goes to Doki Doki Literature Club like in top 100 games. I'm like, you know what? Like in a world, I could totally see putting that on there. And then one of the boys goes like really? I'm like, yeah. Well, I mean, it deconstructs an entire genre of video games in like a very smart way, and I get that like people want to be hipster about it now, where like the visual novel like hardcore, like yeah, that game is this that, and that's kind of I feel like once you hit that realm, you kind of proven that you have made a name for yourself, unironically. But yeah, I think that game. I mean, would it make a top 100?
I think like, for me, it'd easily be in top 25.
At the very least, at the like 100. Wait, what? Oh, for your personal.
No, I think for me, if I was like to assemble like a top 100 games,
no, top 25,
100% top 25,
0%. No, they kind of put it where I'm at with that, where the 190 range. Like, I'm sorry, like you're getting a little too psychopath right there. Like It does stuff, but not in a.
I think that for its cultural relevance and how it's helped to further shape the gaming society, while at the same time doing a lot to give reverence and create a boom for a whole genre that a lot of people look the other way for, aside from very hardcore niche communities. I think its importance deserves easily a top 100. I'd arguably debate that it's top 25.
Let's say it down now. One episode before the end of the year. Maybe even like our episode on maybe our Extra Life episode, because we will do Extra Life. Now I am now free from the shackles of grad school. So Extra Life will have a Blue Rupees podcast during them. Maybe during that we do our top 100 list. David and I work together and create a top 100 video games of all time.
That might be something where we even I think it would be worth also getting audience feedback for that one to help basically be like a wild card that could shift where things go up and down in rank.
Sure. If we have tiebreaker, audience breaks it.
Yeah. All right.
There are so many
I'll start
games.
Getting some thoughts on that.
Sure. Yeah. There's so many games that have a bit bigger impact than Doki, but that's just my opinion. Yeah, I would put like in the bottom quarter of top 100. Like I just think you're talking top 100 of all time. You're talking Mario and Pac-Man and Zelda and like Halo and stuff like that. You're talking like these Tetris. You're talking about these.
I think it's easy to think that it's recency bias for the impact of Doki Doki, but at the same time, I think knowing the trajectory of how other major past games have caused changes to the landscape, I think it's very easy to see the trend and look back on how something that was so niche and so representative of something even further niche that became so mainstream that there were debates on just straight up mainstream news about the game.
We're gonna have a good argument on Extra Life, so just stay tuned for that. Save your arguments for that.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, Doki Doki Literature Club, that's one of the ones that stands out for you.
Yeah, 100%. That was a fun episode. It was one of the few times where all three of us were in agreement that, like, yeah, this was a great, horrible adventure.
That's fair.
And it was apparently that was only an hour-long episode, too.
So and we're saying our favorite episodes as in, like, discussion, not just the favorite games that we've had.
Yeah, definitely the favorite discussions.
Okay. Mine, Nier Automata is always the number one game I think of when I think of games gone by. I think that was a universal. All three of us had not played it, and all three of us came back like enamored, like with stars in our eyes, like holy shit. That was a collective experience we all had, and that we all had to like just talk about, which was
yeah,
fun.
That was my number 2.
Yeah, that's my number 1, just because like I think I'm hard pressed to think of it's gonna be hard for us to ever top that in its sense of like and granted it's like you and me now, right? So it's maybe easier because every games that we both haven't played, but like with three of us and Gore especially having like had a lot of he plays everything, a game that all of us hadn't hit and all of us got hit with was magical. I feel like
100%.
David, next.
Well, I mean that was my next one. That was my number 2.
Okay. Since I took that, then go for your next one then.
So my number 3, honestly, and it's explicitly just because of the conversation that was involved. Honestly, is Charles Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden. Because it was such a wild experience of you had Adrian who was like trying to be kind of calm about it, but you could tell throughout he was like, no, this is just a dumb meme game. Like if it was maybe 2 hours, maybe if it was actually taken seriously, like that, it was kind of that reverse of what we often see. Like, you know, go back and watch again. Shouts to yesterday's episode for the Alan Wake retrospective, where it was the weird like cartoon evil world version of where instead of Adrian like, hey, you haven't thought of this perspective yet, it was me trying to go, yeah, but Adrian, you don't understand, this is for the memes, bro.
And then I just point out like, oh, it's so funny. Kobe Bryant's tomb.
And then so often you had Chris in like a weird middle ground. It's one of the few times that Chris was like the middle ground for something. Because usually he would be like on a hard extreme one way or the other, but there would be times where like, yeah, I mean it was kind of dumb, but that ink and gold joke did make me laugh, and you know I did kind of get a kick out of the diabetes subplot, and like every so often, it was so weird how he was like kind of the middleman, like the calmest one out of all this. It was just such a fun conversation.
David, how do I get that on my Steam Deck? Can I?
You would, yeah.
Figure
You
out a
would
way.
probably want.
Figure out a way
Uh,
for me to get it on Steam Deck. And here's the thing. I'm gonna say this. That we mentioned this again. Cross promotion. We're talking about it. Games gone by. We're gonna have a. Eventually, we'll have a rewind episode every now and then. Of us replaying a game that we've played in previous games gone by. And we have actually a little list that we've compiled of games that we'd be interested in going back to. BioShock being one. Games that just didn't get a fair shot, or games we just want to play again. Nier might be eventually be on there again. But Charles Barkley is going to be one of the ones I would say because I would like to try that game again, not on PC or laptop that I was on, because that's back when I just did not play anything on PC. Same thing that the Street Fighter Cross Mega Man also got hit with that kind of thing where I just hated playing on PC. Now that I have a gaming PC and now that I have a Steam Deck, particularly Steam Deck, if you can get my thing on a Steam Deck and I can get that game like on a handheld where I feel like I could play a little better, like more comfort and like more in the mindset. Like when I play a handheld, granted we've gotten to a point now where I can play Nier on handheld, right? But like when I'm on a handheld, I can put a game a little bit more on that mind level. Like, all right, we're dissecting it and bringing it down and putting it in my hands, doing like that. If I can figure out a way to do that, I think I'd reopen my mind. I could see that whole thing. I could see us reapproaching that game and me having a play different mindset on it, or maybe the same. Who knows? Maybe I just think the game's even dumber now that I could focus on it even more. But give me a little more of a comfort spot in there, and I think I'd be more open minded to it.
All right. I sent you the generic instructions. The honest answer is if this doesn't work, it's going to be a very involved process to get it to work.
Okay, because if this works, then I'm willing for us to try another or try a rewind episode with this.
All right.
All right. My 2, appropriately enough, is Silent Hill 2.
That was a good fucking episode.
I think that one was a game that you and Chris had both played. I was the only one. I was the one that picked it. I'm the only one that hadn't played it. God damn, I loved that game, and I think we had a really good discussion on just like the psyche of James and how everything goes into it. And that was there's few games I could just talk about forever. Nier and Silent Hill are 2 of those. God, dude, it fucking happened. By the way, it fucking happened. Remember I told you I brought I had the little Mama Nier reincarnate plush.
Yep.
Sure enough, one student looks at me because they all ask where I buy these plushes because they like them, and then the Mama one's a cute one, right? Sure enough, someone asked me, "Where'd you get this and where's it from?" I'm like, "I got that like on a PlayAsia, which is like an import website, and that's from this mobile game called Nier Incarnate." What is that? Don't ask me that, because I will unironically talk about Drakengard and Nier for the next 4 hours without having played Nier. I'm missing the key.
You're missing two major components to it.
I haven't played that game. I haven't played fucking Reincarnate. I'm missing 2, but primarily being Nier, right? Nier being a big keystone and all that. I'm missing so many
Dalton with Nier Replicant there.
Yeah, so I'm missing that in terms of how I talk about this, and still I can go on and fucking forever about this. So like, God help anyone past November when I have this final key to the puzzle. It's come December. Whoa, like I am gonna go on the rabbit hole. I'm probably gonna download that. Actually, I really don't want to play a gacha game with Nier. It kind of makes me feel weird, so I might just like watch a video.
No, I don't want to do that either. That's why I haven't bothered with it.
And I hear you go watch a video. Wrong. And that's what Chris did, where you watched a video about all of that. So I might do that. Privilege Junkie, Silent Hill 2 is my top 5, appropriately so. Kells, but will the remake be decent? Is a question. I'm scared because Silent Hill 2 needs to be appropriately off. Like, it can't be like amazing. It can't be fun. I just don't see a world where Silent Hill, if they can do it and they nail it, Godspeed. But I just don't see how you can make a game like Silent Hill 2 fun and still tell the message it's trying to say.
don't think fun's the right word.
Engaging.
Yeah, I think that
Slick. It's clunky and it's not fun, but like, and here's the bullshit thing. And I say this thing for Spec Ops Line, which was this close to being games gone by. I don't know if I revisit that all the time. I would love for you to play that game because that's one of the games that I can talk about like in depth. And I argue with Chris about this all the time. He thinks that game's like fun. I think it's competent. I don't think it's fun. I think it's so generic and it's so boring in that, but that's the point. I think a lot of times it's kind of a weird argument to make a game just not fun, but that's kind of the point of it. Because like, why would you want to be having a good time in a world like Silent Hill? You don't want to be having a good time in the world of Spec Ops: The Line. The whole point is to be like a miserable fuck that does not want to be doing this.
I think it's one of those things for like a modern Silent Hill 2. The controls need to be competent, but you don't necessarily need to feel like you're a hero. You know, it needs to walk that tightrope of feeling like, yeah, you can kind of make your way through things, but it can't ever feel like you are in control 100% of the time.
Sure.
Or most of the time, in all earnesty. Like, I do think, because when we played it through for Games Gone By, I played the Xbox version as opposed to the PS2 version. And the Xbox version has enhanced controls where it makes it play more like a regular game. Yeah. And it
but even with that,
better, but it doesn't like take away from it.
It's still not great.
Yeah.
So I think it still retains, but then like once I like a really good dodge mechanic and things to it, I'm like, I don't know how I feel. Like I think that's
no, there can't be like a dodge, there can't be, it's literally gotta be the closest you can do to tank controls without doing tank controls.
Right.
It's got to be like that as soon as you're engaged in like a combat, you're like sitting in place and having to think about your action.
Right.
Everything has to feel methodical.
Right. So, Privilege Army talking about how they're starting to give Silent Hill a shot because they have a PS5, but then they mentioned the game needs to be nothing more than a vessel for the story. Once the game becomes more than the story, it will fall apart. I hope that makes sense. And then go, yeah, survival horror. Really quick because everybody is almost out. We thought we did Games Gone By on Spec Ops. That will happen someday. When? I don't know, but that'll happen someday. And then gonna go watch Guardians 3 with the mom. Very curious about your choice for DLC. We'll do that, I think, next week. I really want to put that because I think we'll
do that next week because honestly, we have had fuck all for gaming news as of late. So.
Yeah, and I also don't give a shit that much right now. And then it's a very curious DLC. We'll do the DLC next time, so that way if you want to hop in, you're good. So you can give your thoughts in the comments there. Have fun. Enjoy Guardians 3. Guardians 3 is fantastic.
It was great.
Yeah. James Gunn's a
best Marvel film in a long ass time.
James Gunn's a bitch ass. He knows what he did to us. Motherfucker. I hate him for that. But yeah, clicking horror games are the best, says Kels. Yeah, so I think there needs to be like that sort of like added barrier of feeling like you're impervious. And I get scared for that remake because it's like you got to walk a lot of tightropes for that game, and from what it was, like the one voice clip that we heard was promising.
It's promising.
It looks fantastic.
The biggest thing,
it's promising like that. I'm like, I want to feel good, but like it has to feel off, and like that's when you try to make something feel off too hard, it shows. It's too meticulous.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I feel like for as much as people were mad about like the Final Fantasy VII remake not just being a straight up remake of give us our turn-based combat but just with modern graphics, I feel like Silent Hill 2 especially is one of those games where it's going to be really hard to please people because I feel like that's exactly all Silent Hill 2 fans want, and I don't entirely disagree. I think that truly it's one of those things that on some level, fuck it, literally just give us Silent Hill 2 but with the most pristine graphics you can. But at the same time, like, if you're gonna remake something, you have to do something different with it. You have to reinvent it somehow. But leave the story alone. Leave all that the fuck alone. Give us more to explore. Give us maybe a a little bit more variety in how to solve puzzles.
Give
Or
us a
even
little,
if you
give us a
want,
little more James in some way too. Like you can dive into him like a little bit more. I feel like there's definitely some room for us to like. There's a lot of room for us to speculate, but there's a little bit of room for us to like tow around the water with. I think.
yeah, honestly, like one of the things you could do that uses everything from the story without changing the story, let us see some elements of James that better reflect some of those worse endings. Like that weird, snide, just like malicious James that we see in a couple of the endings. Let us actually
I
see more elements of that in the main story.
I love his look though. They nailed how he looks, where he's not like dreamy protagonist, which he could have easily been for a lot of people. It's just like some regular dude, which is like nailed it like so far. That's exactly what we need to.
Agreed.
I'm
I'm cautiously optimistic.
the same. I'm hoping for the best. I hope Bloober team's like always that team that's like on the cusp of like greatness. I really hope this is theirs finally, I'd be honored but terrified if I were them right now, because that's
Oh, 100%.
like this is your make or break. If you fuck this one up, you are gonna be hunted at the stake. If you nail it, you'll be praised. Like there is no middle ground here. I think you can't get away with a meddling Silent Hill 2.
No, because especially something like Silent Hill 2, if this was handed to like Blooper Team, I feel like there would be far less speculation and concern over it. I feel like there would be some people that'd be like, they might change things aesthetically too much, but otherwise leave everything else in the spirit of it all. But I don't think it's controversial to say that this studio has not had an absolute banger.
No, they've
You know,
they've had
every-
sevens
every-
or eights, maybe eights is being generous, but they've been mostly a seven studio.
And especially with the medium being like their attempt at doing Silent Hill inspired from scratch left a very lukewarm reception. It definitely leaves that like you guys get the concept, but you don't understand the execution.
Now, and this could lead to like really good games where it's like maybe they learn, maybe this is their process. So like, all right, now that we're doing this, we understand a little bit more of what we're doing. So maybe they take the gusto they get from working with one of the best games ever and just running with it for the future of their studio, or they just flop. Like, you can't have a 7. Silent Hill 2 remake is a 7. That'd be unfortunate.
I honestly wonder. I don't think it's been mentioned anywhere officially. Just like how involved some of the original Team Silent members are in this remake.
I could be wrong, but I don't think, because that's a Konami thing. Remember, they don't give a shit.
I mean, Konami, no, but I would hope that like if it were me, and I was involved in this.
You were given $1
Very
billion to work on.
Yeah, exactly. No. If it were me and I was told one day, all right, we've consistently put out okay material, and someone has decided to entrust us with remaking Silent Hill 2, that would honestly be my first step, is reach out to as many people as I possibly could from the original Team Silent and just be like, bro, fucking walk me through your mindset. Fucking help me understand. And just to really get that guidance from the people that set the foundation.
Right. And it's intentional, which is cool about Team Silent, is that like, what they did, even though it feels like a B movie in some ways, like that was intentional, and that's why it made it so good.
Yeah.
Kels, anything less than perfect is a failure when it comes to remakes of great games. I'd agree. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if I 100% agree, because like FF7 remake is not a perfect game.
Also not a remake.
Right. But as a reapproach to this game that everyone holds near and dear, it really walked a strong line, right? Where it's like it added a lot more. It's making it really did its disservice by calling itself a remake. But
it's frustrating because I agree 100. I'm sorry, you continue.
No, go for it. I want to hear what you're going.
I was gonna say it's one of those things that in the moment I was really pissed. And you can even go back and listen to our Blue Rugby's episode when we did a spoiler chat on that game. Yeah. I was really pissed with that game. Now that I've had a lot of time to like really sit and marinate on my
what they're
thoughts
doing
on that, I genuinely think that if they hadn't, it's that frustrating catch-22 of it's actually kind of clever to go ahead and call it a remake just for that twist reveal of surprise. It's
We're
not.
remaking it.
Yes. But at the same time, it's kind of one of those things where it's like it would have set better expectations going into it from the beginning if they hadn't, like you said, called it remake and also set the expectation from
Yeah,
the beginning.
but you know too that was kind of the fun. The fact that you've got here on your own is kind of a lot more satisfying than if you had like been like prepared for it. Like, all right, I'm gonna go in knowing it's something different. Now you're like fuck, but then every once in a while, yeah, that like, damn, that's kind of cool though. All right, fine. Like I'm on this road. Yeah, no, I can see it in your eyes. I can see why you're back and forth, and I don't know, cause like the way FF7 is not one of your favorite games, but it's a game you hold dear.
No, it's one of those things that the Final Fantasy games on the PS1 are games that arguably I've played more than any other.
So it's one you hold dear, but it's not one of your favorites. But
yeah.
It's one you hold
dear.
No,
it's not. It's maybe somewhere top 5 Final Fantasy, but it's certainly not top 3.
So, but for me, Halo 2 Anniversary is exactly what it needed to be for me, right? Which is like, here's Halo 2 in fucking gorgeous graphics, remade cutscenes, and a little bit of extra Easter eggs here and there. You're welcome. And I'm like, sick. That's what I want. Don't fucking touch Halo 2, you motherfuckers. I love it the way it is with cliffhanger and all. That's all I want. And I can see you also, like, if they had gone through and just like coat painted the entirety of FF7 the way it was with this paint they did for remake, you'd have been happy about it. But I think just because who you are as a person, you love mystery and deciphering shit and going into theory.
I do.
That they got you on this. We're like, you know what? We're gonna do this to you, and now you're theorizing left and right. You're like, oh fuck, all right, are we gonna do this? Well, now that we see that in that trailer, that means that this is happening now. Now we're going like it's a lot. It's almost like in a way fucking with you, but I could see where the frustration came because like you weren't ready to be fucked with, but now you kind of appreciate it.
Yeah,
I can see that.
It's I got mixed feelings on it still, but now that I have finally hit the point to accept it as the different entity that it is and not trying to be the same entity, I have more of an appreciation for it.
Sure. I think if it all works out the way we hope it does, do you see yourself loving this entire thing if it works out like perfect?
It's gonna really depend on Rebirth. Because honestly, it couldn't. It's at such an apex point for the story. I still hate that remake only was the end of Midgar's story because again, that's literally just the first 3 hours of the game and like a 30-hour game.
Sure.
But it is one of those things that I have to presume it ends at the most well-known aspect of Final Fantasy VII. Like it has to end there, but it's going to come down to
how they do
is it going to end the same way?
Because this is what I think. The obvious fake out cannot be the obvious fake out. That's lame. There's an obvious twist that everyone all thinks is going to happen, and I think that's too easy. That's too easy. You can't just do that because everyone's like, oh, they did it. But like, you see how they're doing things, how different they're doing it. They're going weird with it. It can't. They kill Cloud instead. Fuck it.
Holy hell, that would be a fucking 5D chess move. Holy hell.
Can you imagine I would watch every single Let's Play reaction of this fucking Earth for the rest of my life is to watch everyone go through like, what the fuck? They killed Cloud!
Holy fuck, that would be some 5D chess that would make everything fucking worth it. Holy Christ.
You can't just kill who you think you're gonna kill, or you can't kill the obvious twist character, because an obvious twist is the lamest thing, I think.
So here's where it gets fascinating.
Oh, you know what? Let's stop talking about this. Let's save it for
All
2
right,
weeks from now.
we'll save it for another time.
We're 2 weeks from now. We're gonna talk all about this in 2 weeks.
That's right. On 9/11, the best time to talk about eco-terrorists.
I won't forget about it. All right.
Also, real quick, shout outs to Cromartie High School. Apparently has a Blu-ray release out right now that is on sale. Fantastic anime. Go watch it. It's a very short sit. It's 26 episodes, but each episode is legitimately like 10 minutes long. And it just has a very unique sense of humor. 11 out of 10. Would recommend that anime. But so I gave 3, so I think we're waiting on you for your third.
My third is one that I'm glad that David is someone that will be humble when he is proven wrong on something, when something is given to him, and he is adamant. Like he's like, I don't want. He's doing that kid thing where kids like, I don't want to eat it, and you feed it to him, and he got it, and David will not be shitty about it. He won't be like, I mean, whatever, I guess. Like he'll be like, no, like nailed it, cool. So my third is What Remains of Edith Finch.
Oh fuck, that was a good one.
I think hearing David come around on a genre that he is adamantly, still to this day, is very much does not like, when he
100%.
talks shit on that thing, and the roll up to that episode where he was like just like moaning and groaning about. Yeah, and Gordon had to be like, yeah, it's a good story. Yeah, whatever, I guess. It's a walking simulator. What the fuck is it gonna be about? And then the turnaround of like, oh, it got him. Like it got him like teary eyed to the point where he like when he played it again. He played it again with the fiance for
Yep.
Pocket Train Wreck.
Yeah, Pocket Train Wreck.
And liked it still. So it's like it stuck with them.
Yeah,
So I think
still got me in the same places too. Fucking A.
yeah. So What Remains of Edith Finch is a good one because I think that was a good. That's a good talk, and it's an emotional one.
It's such a good talk also for like the first 10 minutes because there was so much. It can't be understated. It was weeks of build up to like me hemming and hawing and really not fucking wanting to do this game. I didn't want to spend money on it, so I'm like, where the fuck can I play it? And luckily at the time it was on Game Pass, so I'm like, good, I don't have to spend money, whatever. And then, you know, even the first like 5 minutes of the podcast itself, I'm hemming and hawing the whole time. It's like, all right, I'll fucking admit this game actually was a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah, he was trying to hide it, but David's also a really bad actor, though.
At times, yeah.
So, What Remains of Edith Finch, I think, was my third.
That's fair. Oh man. I think for my fourth pick, I do have to pick a game we have talked about here today already, and it's for some of the reasons I did actually discuss while we were talking about it, and that is Grim Fandango. It's a game that was, again, something I was nostalgic for. It was something that, if I remember correctly, Chris had played a little bit back in the day, but I don't remember if he said he ever finished it before. And it was definitely one that you hadn't played before. And it's one of those things that it was a great chance to really have like an earnest conversation about diversity and representation in games, which is something that even now we don't have a lot of those conversations. I feel like for as much as we have come forward in gaming as a whole on a lot of fronts, it's still a long ways away from seeing more than just the bog standard protagonist that we tend to see.
Right.
And the bog standard story that we tend to see.
It's a very different. It's a lot of ways. It's just different.
And because I was very excited. I'm glad that everyone got into it. I'm glad. I think we all agree that Glottis was best boy, 100%. And it was just a fun, probably aside from maybe What Remains of Edith Finch, one of our most earnest conversations that we had on the podcast.
Yeah, and I agree with you because that was also my number 4.
Hell yeah!
All right, so what's your number 5 then?
Oh, fuck, that's hard to pick. So So I'm trying to not pick something that you've already picked on yours at this point.
I'll give you mine. That way it makes your last one just a...
Yeah, go hang me your final one.
My last one, it's unfortunate because we got hit with a issue that I just didn't finish the game in time, where I was crunching it, and I just got hit with this last bit where I just couldn't finish it. So we had to put the podcast up. So it's unfortunate. I'm cheating because I know I said that don't pick your favorite games, like pick the recording, but the recording still turned out to be pretty solid in our discussions. So my number 5 is Chrono Trigger.
I was contemplating that one, but I didn't pick it explicitly because we didn't really have a fully finished game to converse.
We did talk. Well, we talked about it the next day. We recorded the last half, so it came out like half and half. But because RPGs get my ass sometimes, when especially old school ones, when you got to do it a specific way and I don't, and then the last boss just kills me for. I played that last boss like 4 or 5 hours. It fucked.
Fair. Lavos, if you're not prepared, is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. But
and I'm able to breeze through that game because, like the Final Fantasies on PS1, I played the hell out of that back in the day. So I think my total playtime for that game was like 18 hours.
David.
Yeah. My final pick now.
I have a funny honorable mention that I'm gonna say that Dave isn't 100% disagree on, but like from what I'm gonna say less.
I kind of want to pick it I'm gonna pick it because it's a kind of a controversial choice. And Portal. I did kind of I almost did pick Portal. I almost did. But honestly, I think I have to pick the BioShock episode.
Okay.
Because I think it had the same energy as the Portal episode without fully going into that same just I'm fucking done territory. We at least had everyone there to finish the conversation. And it was kind of one of those things where I can't entirely fault you for the experience you had.
Thank you.
Genuinely ran into a lot of shit.
Thank you. Chris was talking so much shit about me about like, what do you want me to say? Well, you're knocking the game like it's off. Yeah, okay. You had a game breaking bug. You could literally not finish the game. What do you want me to say? Oh, fantastic game. I love that ending I didn't get to. Like I'm still a little heated about that whole episode where it's like he was mad at me.
It's like you outright punched him in the nuts and called him a cut to his face. He was
mad at me. I get it, because like I was talking shit about one of the greatest games of all time that many would say that he adores immensely. I was talking shit on it. I'm sorry though. Like, what else am I gonna say? I literally couldn't finish the game. I spent 6 or 7 hours of my life walking through this game. And just nothing. It amounts to nothing. It amounted to nothing. I that is unfair for anyone. Like, you can talk if someone was right now playing Halo 2, and I'm here gushing about it, or let's actually let's reel it back. Actually,
honestly, Halo 2 is a great example. I would not have gotten through that game if it wasn't for you and me playing that together. 100%. And for the same reason we talked about, I can't remember if it was yesterday's Games Gone By or... Yeah, it was. So I brought up the fact that if I'm going to get, like, hyper lost in a fucking game, I don't have the patience.
Yeah. So, like, if someone's playing one of my favorite games... By the way, I swapped number 5 because I forgot about something. And gotcha. I might even bump that up a little bit more, actually. Actually, I'm going to bump that up a lot more. I'll talk about it here in a second.
And that's got to be Portal 2.
Yeah. If someone's playing one of my favorite games of all time... and they had a game-breaking bug, and they talk shit on it, I can't fault them because like the game didn't let them finish it. Like that's not on them. That's not on me. That's on purely the game. Like that's acceptable. But like I don't know. I feel like if and I'm not trying to like disparage Chris, but I feel like he of all people that I know, if his shoes were flipped, he would have totally been doing the exact same thing I would have been doing, which is like, fuck that game, because it didn't let me finish the game. It's shit game.
Yeah, and it's one of those
Anyone
things where
would
it's
have.
like,
And I get where he was from
Yeah.
again, because it's like one of his favorite games. He cherished it. He loves it. He has a whole fucking shelf of collectibles on it. I appreciate him for doing that. But like, I get it on both ends. But like, I feel like if the shoe was flipped, he would do the exact same thing on there too. Because like, that's some bullshit. That's some bullshit.
like I still hope that one day you go back and
I will.
replay it.
I have to, and I'm mad at myself. I made it worse because I'm mad at myself for doing what I did, which is spoiling a game that I somehow remained not spoiled of in a while. In fact, I'm gonna be honest, and I say this like as I hate bringing it up because sometimes I get those things where like someone spoils something offhand, I'll remember it forever. But like, I can't 100% remember the details for that. So I said on the podcast too that I was gonna try my best to forget what it was, and I have like 65% of it. I think I've forgotten, maybe even like 75%. I don't know what happens. I'm gonna go back and play it again. I have it on Switch. I can get it on Steam Deck. I'm just not playing it on Xbox again for obvious reasons. But like, I will play that game again, and I will give it a fair shot. That was one of our rewind episodes. But I will stand proud and loud about my stance on that. Where fuck that game.
Yeah, and genuinely, if someone, if I take the emotion entirely out of it and my own reverence for the game out of it, like truly, if anyone comes across an experience where you can't finish the fucking game, 100%, I would expect the game to be completely shit on, because what the fuck else would you? Literally, your experience with the game is it told you to fuck you. You're not finishing this.
I think there was a controversy, right, with like Prey or something where
Yeah.
I stand with that reviewer. I'm sorry, your game didn't let him finish. What do you want him to give it? A fucking the game let me finish, but you know what? I think it's an 8 out of 10. No, I didn't finish the game. I got a half experience. 3 out of 10. Just get
like,
it.
Straight
It's
up,
not even like a 5 out of
we-
10. It's like it knock out 2 points for pissing me off now.
Like, it's one of those things that if we were like an actual like review group, we would be expected to go ahead and shit on the game for having a game-breaking level bug like that.
And
There would be writing if there wasn't.
right. And there's unfortunate thing is like that's not known for that game. That game, I don't know. I don't know anyone. They're like it's a well-made game, very polished. I'm the only person I've known that's ever had a game-breaking bug in BioShock.
Yeah.
But it happened. So I don't know what else to tell you. It happened.
And I even played, because when I first played it, it was on the worst version, arguably, which was the PS3 version.
Yeah. I played on the fucking collection edition. Like, what the fuck? So whatever. I bought it on Switch. I bought it. I'm sure I can get a cheap copy if I don't already have it, which I'm pretty sure I do. But if I don't have it, I can get it on Steam Deck. But I'm like 95% sure I got it. I'll play it again, but that is what it is there. I was gonna say my honorable mention would be Parasite Eve because I fucking love that game, but I love that game. I genuinely love that game.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
I
as
liked
much
it a
as you
lot.
did.
I just also like my drunken rambles because I still think it's dumb as hell that they would fucking do that.
I did not put it on there just because that was a very rambly episode.
Sure, but I want to say my ramble for that is very appropriate because it is bullshit what they did.
Agreed. I think if we do really end up actually committing to doing a New Game Plus kind of concept for Games Gone By, that is one I would want.
Rewind? Do you mean like I just saying?
Yeah, rewind. Yeah.
we have a dub for it.
Yeah. New Game Plus. So if we go
can't
ahead
do
and
Game
we
Plus.
do that,
That's what the gaming cafe is called near me.
oh yeah.
It's
That's
too
fair.
associated with that for me now.
Maybe they can sponsor us.
Yeah, sure. You still have that shirt? You're a Jurassic Park shirt.
Yeah, I got that one, and I got the Black Flag one from them.
Yeah,
So I have both of those. Still wear them.
nice. Shout outs to John Sakura, one of the greatest people. He's lost like 2 of his cats this year. Both of them like the ones that he was like closest with. One of them was this sweet boy named Bart who had like a messed up eye, so it's like wasn't. I don't know
Yeah.
if you saw pictures of him.
Yeah.
You see that poster? Or no.
No, because I think it was like not long before he shut his Facebook down. So I don't
Okay,
think I
so
saw that.
he
Yeah.
lost his old boy Larry, who was like that was his
Oh,
boy, and then he had Bart for almost a year. It would have been 1 week from his full year with them, and he loved Bart, and that was that cat with the eye, and Bart passed away too. So he's been a bit of a mess lately because those were two, and he actually got divorced too. Uh,
oh, fuck.
yeah, but that was they did like a whole like cutting up the cake together with happy divorce written on it and stuff like that too. So they've been pretty amicable about it, which is cool.
I mean, that's what you can. That's all you can hope for is that's amicable, but it's still never a
Yeah, I'm sure
pleasant
that's tough, and then
experience.
losing two of your pets like that, it's dude's going through it right now. So shout outs to John. He's one of my favorite people. He's one of the most genuine souls you can ever see on the planet.
100%. He's a genuinely good man.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for him.
But yeah, Parasite Eve. I get pissed off about that because like we do need more strong just female protagonists, especially coming that early on. That early
Yeah.
having someone fucking solid like that and then turning into that bullshit. That will piss off drunk Adrian. Drunk Adrian's a very loving person, so that drunkenness, that drunken anger comes from a place of love where I'm like, I hate
Yeah.
that we had something that was so good taken away.
There is a strong possibility that the longer we do Games Gone By, there's a high possibility we end up playing through all 3 Parasite Eve games, so you can get the full experience of being a Parasite Eve fan.
Does it piss you off that you feel like we're this close to getting a Parasite Eve remake, but it just seems
I
like
don't think it's actually
we're always out
happening.
of reach. It feels like we're right there. It feels like, oh, there might be hints.
I think we're closer to a Chrono Trigger remake than we are a Parasite
We
Eve.
are, and I don't want it. I would take
I'm
I would
torn.
take a Parasite Eve one for 100% for sure. Chrono Trigger,
I think Parasite
trust
Eve
them.
needs it more.
Yeah, I don't trust them with Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is a perfect game as is. It
is very timeless.
It's timeless. It's like the SNES era is so fucking nice for that. Like the sprites look amazing and everything just flows. And it's got the DS version, which is like just amplifies it even better with that. Don't touch it. Let it be free. It's fine. It's good. Don't do that. And they're gonna want to split it into parts probably. And you can't split Chrono Trigger. Don't do that. But my addendum is I'm gonna put for number 3 Kentucky Route Zero because that is the one for sure that we're gonna rewind. That's an episode lost in the ether of the internet. That's one of the ones that we just do not have anymore. But that is a game. I've mentioned this a billion times. That is a game that is every time that and like Persona 5 are the 2 games. Like every time I think about them, I just love them a little more. But Kentucky Route Zero is the more amplified version of that, where
Yeah.
the narrative, and then we'll never. Once I might just replay it again. I want to do this Twin Peaks thing that Dave and I talked about yesterday, where it's like, Twin Peaks and I are destined to meet on this earth.
It has to happen.
Yeah, this is our fate for us to meet, and I'm gonna do it soon. We're gonna try to do that. We'll see if we do some content about that. But Kentucky Route Zero is the epitome of the American experience, the American culture of capitalism and humanity, and all of us teaming together. And I still I never cried at a video game, but that is the one that was like, if the people that made that game stretched something out, like I'm talking like fractions of a second longer, it would have been done. Because like
that's one that if we truly do end up doing the rewind for that one, I'll probably try to convince the fiance to be on that episode with us, because that's so far in all the time. You know, it's been like 3 years that her and I, more than that now, 3.5 years at this point. We've been together, so she's been with me for as long as we've essentially been doing Games Gone By. And Kentucky Route Zero was the first game where she's like, "Hey, I don't want to watch what you're doing because this looks like something I really would get an emotional kick from, and I want to go into it blind myself at some point.
Dude, just
So it was the first time she excused herself from the room while I was playing a Games Gone By game because she wanted to go through it blind.
every time, dude. I'm gonna not spoil. Oh, I'm gonna spoil parts of it right now because I every time I fucking think about the game, it's just like the people you meet on the route on the zero are just like so genuine. They're so written out. You get their characters from like whatever just you could decipher from them. You get those characters. The game itself, is there like a giant overarching thing? Not really. Like you're just trying to get this delivery to the zero. The people you meet along the way are the people you meet along the way. The tragedies that happen are the tragedies that happen. You hurt your Conway hurts himself, and then it just goes from there. And it's just a tumble, 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 and then you get to a point where I just feel like the most heartbreaking part was, it's funny because like the wait definitely would have been tough. That would have been tough, and I knew like I don't know what it was. Something told me, and this is before I even related to it so much. When I played the first episode, I was like, I can't do this wait thing. I'm gonna wait. I didn't know I was gonna wait 5 years, but I was like, I'm gonna wait till it's all out. And when and I'll be vague about it to not spoil anything in case anyone's not played it. But when you see the boat go down into the tunnel,
Yes.
that, and depending on what was chosen and what happens on said boat, and then uh the last episode, which is funny because like it's almost the most shallow episode, but it's taken the longest time, and you wouldn't realize that, but like you just, it felt like they needed to really talk and just figure out what's the way we can close out this game and feel good about it. And it was that, and the culmination of like you talking to this whole town, seeing how everyone got there, and then the horses that were called neighbors, which is always funny. I love a good pun.
Yeah.
Uh, talks about that, and then just on the screen, it's black, and all you see is then the horses died, and then you come back, and then they start singing "I'm Going That Way," and I relate it a lot to. Have I ever told the Coco story?
I don't think so.
Have I that's unfortunate. I've never told the Coco story to you. I tell my students that as like as a way to like show my softy side of me, but like also like give them fodder. If I'm roasting them a little bit too hard, I give them that. And my students being so sweet and genuine, like I give them if I like make fun of them a lot, I'll be like, all right, you guys want an embarrassing story about me? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, cool. So I tell them the story, and then they're like, I'll tell you what the response is afterwards. Anyway, so I'll be vaguish about it. About 6 years ago, I had a pretty rough thing happen. 6 years ago, yeah, almost 6 years ago, I had a pretty rough thing happen. And I was holding down the fort with the family and taking care of everyone, doing the whole Mexican male thing where we are all stoic and we take care of the family. That's what we do. And I had my friends see me that I was hermiting up a bit, and they're like, "Dude, you need to get out, go do something, go do something." I'm like, "All right, fuck it. I guess I'll go on a date or something, whatever." Like I was talking to a girl, so I'm like, "All right," and they knew what I was going through. They were in a loop, so I'm like, "All right." So I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna be honest. My friends are telling me to get out of the house. I don't really want to do anything fancy or lavish or anything, but I mean, let's go on a date and do something." And they're like, "Yeah, let's go. What do you want to do?" I was like, I just don't want to do that much. So I was like, I probably have like the mental capacity to like drive to the theater. So you want to watch a movie? And she was like, sure. Like, what do you want to watch? I was like, I don't know what's out. Oh look, that Pixar movie called Coco. All right, let's do that. Okay. And little did I know. So here I am, and this is again at this point I never cried at a movie. Here I am watching Coco, and then I'll say this, like I lost a family member, and I'm watching it, and then like all right throughout the movie I'm like, oh cool, fantastic, a Mexican heritage movie about the loss of family, and the song called Remember Me, and like, oh, uh, God, what have I done? What have I done to you to do it? uh, I can't believe you've done this. And so we get to it, and then it's at the end where hand the picture back to Grandma Coco and start singing Remember Me, and I'm like getting that lump in my throat. I'm like, we're good, we're good, we're good. Don't worry about it. We're good, we're good. And then they start busting out to Remember Me, and then you see all the family come out and singing it, and then you see the skeleton families of everyone, all of it singing together. And bro, like that was it. That was the thing that took off like 3 months of just like 2 or 3 months of just like burden, and it just like came out through my eyes. And I was like, oh fuck, and it just like without the sound because I'm courteous during in a theater, but like
Yeah.
just weeping. I'm like, oh fuck, it's this bad, it's bad, and I'm just like bawling my eyes out, and like I can't stop. I am like trying my best because that's the end of the movie, and like the credits are running, and like the lights are on, and I'm like, I'm just like my date's like she's a sweetheart. She was totally understanding, but I'm just like, you gotta give me a minute. You gotta give me a minute. I'm like, and she was a sweetheart. She's like, you're good. Don't even worry about it. Like, you're totally good. But yeah, and I tell my students that I'm like, isn't that funny? Like, isn't it embarrassing? And they're like, no, you're right. Like, that's a very good movie, and it's okay for you to feel like the way. I'm like, I gave you guys to make fun of me. You guys can't like be nice and sweet about it. Like, come on, use your fodder. um, but I think now and funny like hindsight is everyone's singing I'm going that way, and you see the shadows of everyone around that town.
Yeah.
I think it's just in the easiest way possible. And again, this is why I love that game, is because I could talk about it literally forever. Um, is that the it's a game about us as a collective in America sticking by each other through the tragedy that is corporate America and what it does to us and how it bears us down, and will never let go of us, and we'll still keep fighting to be ourselves and get through that through loving one another. And it's like you get this band of characters that are weird misfits, that all of them are weird, different, but like at the end, you're there. You once you get to episode 5, right? Like you do what you gotta do in episode 5, and you're like, that's it. Like you release it all with that song, and then you finish it up, and I'm like, there's a lot. There's a lot of that game, and also like you just mix in this, the incredible art and aesthetics and all that stuff to it, and just like it's fun. But 100%, we do a rewind. Get her on. Let's do this because it's such a fucking game. It's such a fucking game. That's all I can say.
I feel like I will definitely get into it far more on a replay than a first, because I remember during the episode
I was
one of my
alluding
major
to it.
points.
I was like, it's
Yeah.
very Twin Peaks, and I think I told you too much on the Twin Peaks side of it, which it does have Twin Peaks side of it, but I think you were expecting too much on that side, but not kind of where it was.
Yes.
So I think in hindsight, if I were to reintroduce it, I would say think of like a classic American novel, but with a Twin Peaks dash of flavor in on it.
I think it also didn't help that the way it was timed, it was not long after we did Detroit Become Humans, so just I was getting annoyed with like these faux decision-y games.
Yeah. See, and do you still feel that way with your decision games, huh?
Yeah, I unless
I could see. I'm not trying to assume about you, but I could see in maybe like 2 or 3 years where you backpedal a little bit, not in a say that as negative, but like I'd say you backpedal on that and kind of reevaluate how you think of choices in games, because in that mind, the choices become, you're filling in the gaps for it. Is the whole entire game. There's some choices, obviously, like I mentioned in like chapter 4, like it's not extreme, But like, there's some
No,
things that
but
could
that
change.
that choice is probably the most like pertinent choice in that game, and it is one of the most like it could either be very. I mean, either way, it's gonna be
Either way,
crippling. That's a
it's
rough pick.
rough, right?
Yeah,
Pun intended.
but it's one of those situations where I personally just don't. I think I just genuinely don't like decision choices in games because I feel like you should just commit to having a vision of how you want the game to be, especially where in some games like Kentucky Route Zero, it makes little difference. Yes, arguably in a game like Detroit Become Human and whatnot, it makes more of an impact because it basically cuts you off from experiencing the story. It's a punishment. It's not really your story is different. It's more so you didn't choose the right thing, so your journey with this character is over. And I would rather a game just commit to what its story wants to be and just give me that fucking story, or really go down the
So
rabbit
Detroit
hole
Becomes Human
of
does walk that line of a little bit too much like that. The Walking Dead games 100%. Well, they give you the idea that they think you're gonna all these things really matter
every
when they
Telltale
don't.
game makes you think that your choices
But
matter.
I think if you go in ahead of time knowing it doesn't, I think it's a better experience. Um, I feel like Kentucky Route Zero is one of your better end of that too, where it's like you influence the characters and their personality on the way you digest them and the way you portray them, but the end game is still the end game.
And that's why I think that one I will soften on a little bit, is because I wish they had just committed to the personification of the characters, because it does give you certain elements of what part of their personalities you might see. And I guess there's the argument to be made that, well, if you really want to see everything they went through, you kind of have to replay it multiple times.
No, yeah.
But I would rather just a solid, concise story and just give me that experience versus trying to chase replayability or trying to chase an element of, but it makes it feel like you have a say in what happens.
Sure. That's our games
But
by talk, but I'm gonna leave
yeah,
it on there because I want to do that. But I want to mention actually, I want to go down one small little not a rabbit hole, but like a rabbit. What do you call it?
a tangent.
I want to find a word. What do you call it? What do they call it? World War One? A rabbit trench. I want to go to the rabbit trench.
Trench, rabbit trench. All
Yeah,
right.
not quite a hole, like a trench. Args, one
I
of your
mean,
favorite
trenches are
things.
typically bigger than holes.
One of your yeah, but I mean, fair. But what are your what you love Args?
I do love args.
What are some of your favorites? Give me like two, maybe three of your. And don't even explain the whole thing. Just tell me which ones are your favorites.
I know it's the obvious choice, but it's just kind of being not being there for the exact moment of it, but being there when a lot of the discussion for it was happening plays a role in it. But Ben Drowned.
Okay. Which also I forgot to mention. I watched that whole thing. I got caught up on that.
Oh, you finally got through all that?
Actually, I caught up on before they returned.
Gotcha. And then the other one, honestly, it wasn't like Argy in the like hyper game element focus of it, but it definitely was Argy in terms of that more analog horror element to it. But Petscop.
Okay. So, I love bees. One of my things, and I fucking God help me, I want that DVD. Please God, if anyone out there sees that DVD,
I keep an eye out on eBay.
I have that alert. If anyone sees that thing, tell me, message me personally, and I will work something out for that because that's something that's so near and dear to me that I want that. How close are you aware of Nine Inch Nails?
I don't really care for their music.
Okay, did you know they had an ARG though?
No.
So let me dive down this real quick because I've been revisiting this. I just want to talk about this for a second, like a couple minutes, and then dip out and maybe we approach this again.
All right.
So their album Year Zero came out in 2007, I believe. Um, it all stemmed from a daydream that Trent Reznor had. It's a very, I mean, it's still very much like a Nine Inch Nails album, but it's a lot more electronic-y. It feels a little more like glitchy and futuristic for that time. But here's the thing: is the same company that made the I Love Bees ARG 42 Entertainment, I think 47 Entertainment, I forget what they were, 40 something. They made the Nine Inch Nails one as well.
Hmm.
And it's the most, and I've known about this since for eight. I've known about this ever, but I actually randomly just got a random itch out of nowhere. It was just, I don't know what it was. I was like, you know what? I fucking want to watch that. Um, the video is titled. Ooh, let me look at the title really quick. I want to send it to you while I'm here. Year. Year. The title of it, actually, because it came out a month ago too. Actually, that's probably why I might have saw it just came across. Uh, the most advanced online escape room game you've never heard about. Nine Inch Nails' Year Zero ARG documentary.
Hmm.
I'm gonna send this to you. It's got just under 3,000 views. You will be fascinated at the depths that Trent Reznor kind of made with this thing alongside them, where like the whole concept is totalitarian future, eco-terrorism, drugs in the water, making us all see shit, and a rebellion force that really uses their taglines art is resistance. But I'll give you just a really quick, maybe this sells you on it, maybe it's the hook. So he play along. There's messages in his CD booklet. There's like messages in a song. What he would do at concerts is he would leave a USB drive in like one of the bathrooms, and a fan would like find it and pull it up there, and there'd be like a song from the album on top of like just directions on where to go next. And they would like have meetups. They would say, "Hey, Resistance, meet up here at this time here," and they would hand out like boxes that had like Nokia like phones on there that would call you and say, "You available at this time? At this time, go to this time." Like all the old school ARG stuff, like the real world stuff.
Yeah.
But here's the cool part: is that they it accumulated to him having a private concert for like 50 people. So it was like 50 people like got funneled onto a bus, taken to a warehouse, and one of the characters in the ARG came and like talked to him and kind of like the whole like the whole talk, which is funny. And the whole thing that's really cool about this is like he kind of nailed it. We are where we are right now. And it's like not far from where we're at. But he was like, you know, wake up and give a shit is a thing that he says like a lot. Like wake up and give a shit. You see what these people are doing to you, and this going through the whole thing like in character, but also like kind of real. And they're like, all right, let's go. So they leave him in the back, and there's Trent Reznor just playing this private concert for them. He gets about 4 or 5 songs in, and then the ARG takes effect, where like the lights are shut off, the alarm is set, and then like SWAT team come in and just clear everyone out. They start sending in like smoke to like clear the entire audience out and get them out of there, and then they like try to like attack the band and stuff like that too for like spreading the word. Which I thought is like that's just so cool the way you like play into that even more with that.
Yeah, that's definitely next level.
Yeah, so it's a 45-minute documentary. If you get bored, I would super suggest you do that because it's like that rabbit hole of like dig deeper, 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 deeper. You would have loved, like, I know you don't like the music, but you would. This is your shit where it's like, like one of the websites would be like the password. It'll say like it'll give you a hint of the word saying this is the password for that, and it'll say like happens 3 times in one word or something like that, and you have to look through the entire thing that you just read and try to find what happened 3 times in a word or something like that. It'll be like riddles everywhere here or there. You gotta log into places. There's like audio records of this nightclub being gunned down and attacked, and it's like the girl on the phone like answering scared to her mom, like saying they're gonna kill me, and like I love you, and this, which is like it's real. It's like a little real, but like 2007, it's like I hate how much you call this because the shit is actually hitting pretty close to home, but it's also just a phenomenal watch, just how deep it dives. Don't have to be into the music, but like I think you'd appreciate how it is. So if
All
you get
right.
bored, highly
I'll probably
recommend.
end up listening to it because I'm always looking for something interesting to listen to.
Yeah, it's a 45-minute documentary. It's a lot of information, but you'll appreciate how deep that rabbit hole goes.
All right.
All right. There we go. That's our podcast. 219. 2.5 hours we got down to. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Next episode 100% will be our DLC episode. Stay tuned for that. David, send him out.
Always bet on bongos.
Goodbye, stream.
Goodbye, stream.